What's going on, everyone? What's happening, ladies and gents? Good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Oh, yeah. Another fun evening planned. Let's see what we got here. Let's do an audio test on this. Make sure she's good. Oh, let's see what we got here. What's going on, everyone? What's happening? All right, we are working. Everything is good. Welcome, everyone, all the ladies and gents, all your usual suspects. I hope everybody's well and trying to stay away from this craziness here. Yeah. So let's see who we got here. Let's do this. Click on that. Do that. Back off of that. All right. What's up, guys? All right. Who we got in there tonight? Noodles is on deck. Jaws D's in there. Hello, Jaws D. Clerks 93 is in there. Like Me Watcher, what's going on? I am doing well. I hope you're doing well as well. Good evening to you, Mimi Reacts, I'm sorry. I said good evening, Chris, and hello, my friends. What is happening? Joe Matthews, what's going on? And yes, TGIF is correct. Although mine kind of is not that great only because I have to work on Saturdays. But it's usually a short day on Saturday, so we don't really care too much. Put in all the hard work during the week and go a little easier on the weekend, you know what I mean? So, yeah. But I still agree with you. TGIF. Elaine Millard, what's going on? He said, hi, Chris and everyone. Hope you are all doing well. I am doing well, Elaine. I hope you are, too. John Beck, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Let's see, Dean Brazil is in there. Said, finally Friday. Hi, Chris. Hope everything is going well. It is. And thank you very much, Dean, for saying that. Hope it's going well for you as well. Pete Ferrero's in the house. Says, hello, everybody in the chat and Chris. Pete's Vlog's in there. Yo, yo, yo. What's happening, Pete? Pete. Lone Villain Grows. Afternoon, people. Made a second live. Woohoo! I better get a few fatties rolled up. Oh, not too many now. Go easy on it. Let's see. Photography Light Magic. Good evening to you. Hello. Let's see. Oh, David Clarkson here says, hi all. How you doing there, David? I hope you're doing well. James Cragen's in the house. What's going on, James? Gorilla Killer's in the house, too. What's going on, brother? He said, what's happening, Captain? Oh, not a whole lot, man. Just the usual stuff. Same crap, different flies, if you get what I mean. But yeah, man, it's Friday evening, right? We get to chill, have some good conversation. It's all good, you know. Whoop. And, of course, it just jumped on me again. Let's see. Let's go back to this a little bit. Yeah, I guess it did jump. Okay. Leslie Warren, how are you? You said, hey all, and Chris. Leslie Ann Warren from Lincolnshire, UK. Love to you all. Well, thank you, Leslie. Much love to you as well over there in the UK. Private Tomcat says, hi all. What's going on? Jordy's Metal Shop. What's going on, man? You said, hello, Chris. Been a while. Glad to catch your hangout this week. Well, I'm glad you did, brother. Good to have you in there. The Unknown says, hey, everyone. What's going on, The Unknown? James Dixon's in there. Says, what's up, guys? Missed last week's. Won't miss this week's. Had a long week last week. Sorry. Don't be sorry, man. You got to do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Okay, if it's work, family related, whatever it may be, first things are first. I always say prioritize. That's what it's all about. Yes, Mimi, you're right. All the usual suspects are here. That's awesome. Martin Lucas, what's going on, Martin? He said, hey, guys and girls, got here at the start this week, and we made it through another week. Good times. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Let's see. Trying to see if anybody Hawkins Daniel, what's going on? He said, good to catch you in time. Oh, I'm glad you hear that there, Hawkins Daniel. William Johnson's in there. What's going on? What's happening, William? Yeah, that's a good one too there, Clerks 93. You said payday today. Well, that's always a good day, right? Money is good. Ronnie Parker's in the house. He says, how's it going, Chris? Looking forward to what's what. Oh, yeah. Gorilla Killer says, my hometown is hometown. Grabs on. What's going on? He said, what's up? What's happening? What's going on there, Renee Von Oosterhout? Good to see you in there. Oops, this page has moved up. I'm going to go back this way. MG Joe says, let's see some good photos today. Yeah, MG, I remember you saying, too, like the last video, you said that it was, like, really blurry. Well, like I explained in the video, because I know some of you have probably asked and thought the same thing, is that when we zoom in, it actually gets really kind of pixelated, and we don't want that. We don't want to look at pixelations. We want to look at an actual object if it is in fact there, right? So what I do is I always add a little blur to something like that, so when we zoom in, it doesn't like completely break apart. We can actually see, well, somewhat see what we're looking at. It's kind of hard to get that weird balance where you can zoom way in, but if it's kind of a low res, although it was a rather big picture on the moon. I don't know if you guys have seen the latest moon video. If you're just on the Mars channel, you didn't see it. You probably say, man, he never even put out a video. I did on the Lunar Anomalies and Beyond. But you'll have that. You want to get in as close as you can, but then it starts to break up. So what do? You still want to be in as far as you can, but so you just add slight blur. So if you did see blur, now I didn't have any problem seeing it on my monitor. It doesn't mean it was crystal clear, right? I'm sure some of you guys have said, well, it looks kind of blurry, but for good reason. That's the reason why I tried to do it. It might have been slightly blurrier than I wanted it, but I didn't want it so grainy that we're just actually looking at pixels, and that's it. And we don't want to do that. So that's the reasoning behind it. But I'm glad you, as always, MG Toe, you always comment in there, and I appreciate you. Thank you very much, James Cregan, for your support. Always appreciate it. He said, Chris, did I dream or did I see a day ago that the rover has fell into a crater or a hole on Mars? Was that true? Not that I'm aware of. I didn't hear that, James. I mean, unless it's something, that I haven't been privy of, but I haven't seen it. Let's see, you guys are going back and forth. Alien Believers, what's going on? He said, hi, brother. What's going on, Alien? Good to see you in there. Dale Rogers, what's going on? He said, from Kent, Ohio. What's going on there, neighbor? Mr. Dale's in the house. Phil C's in there. He said, I always miss out. Dang it. Well, you didn't miss out. You're here. You're good. Unless I'm okay, I think you're talking to, what do you call it? Noodles there. But you did say hi, everybody. I'm actually going a little bit backwards here, but Alien Hunter, what's going on? You said, hi, Chris. Hi, chat. Hope everyone's 2021 is a better one. I agree. I hope yours is as well. I think it's Stefan. I don't want to say, because sometimes I kind of do either one. I'll say Steven and Stefan, but I believe it's Stefan. But anyway, yeah, I hope it is too, man. I really do. The only thing I can tell you guys, and I'm sure you heard the blurb out there where they're talking about all kinds of crazy stuff going to happen between the 16th and the 20th, right? The only thing I tell people is, like, listen, if you want to prepare for anything, act like it's what's the word I can use? Like it's going to be a snowstorm. You're going to be snowed in a house for like a week or two, tops. So in other words, you buy things that you know you're going to use regardless, right? I don't care if it's, flashlights, because you'll need those at some point. Extra food, maybe a little extra water. But that's about it. I mean, people are talking crazy now, but it doesn't mean it's not true, right? So just be careful. I'd rather do the shop and get it done, and then you can just be away from all the craziness, because from what I understand, we've got, the National Guard just about every capital around any state in the United States. So Yeah, just be careful, be cautious, that's all. We're not into fear-mongering. I say, oh, the world's coming to an end. We're not going to do that. But just be careful. Just do your thing. Be diligent, just watch out for yourselves and your family. And just do what you got to do early and then just not have to worry about going out to these crazy spots, you know what I mean? John Beck is in there too. Said, hit that like button, guys. Wham! I say, hit it good. Let me jump way down to the bottom here. I'm sorry if I miss anybody. Just go ahead and comment or say hello again if you'd like. Stig's in there. What's going on, Stig? Let's see. 1776 InfoWars, military coup. Well, obviously they got to be here to, got the capitals and any other thing that's going to go on. But I never get really frazzled about it. I don't care. The way I look at it is this. It's like, they're there for everybody's protection. Everybody's like, oh, no. We're going to get, we're going to get locked down and everything else and martial law. And it's like, if you really think about it, you can look at it two ways. For me, it's like, I go, listen, I'm going to go to work regardless whether it's locked down or not because I'm basically, essential. But I don't sweat it because I go home, I do everything I normally do at home, and then I go to work and I come back. So nothing's going to happen as far as I'm concerned. And I don't think really anybody really truly cares to a certain degree because they're not going to stop you from doing whatever you do in your home and in your yard or whatever. So I don't even get involved with all that crap. But I just tell people, listen, just be cautious and, careful, that's all. Other than that, nope. Smooth sailing as far as I'm concerned. Phone villain. Stuck at home checklist. Weed, check. Coffee, check. Camels, check. I think he's got it covered. What, no beer? Damn. Photography Like Magic. He said, remember to tell them about my new channel, Mars Project Genesis. Oh, yeah. That's true. He does have a new channel. And tell them, yeah. There's actually 2 new channels that are coming out, I believe. But yeah. So, yeah, the new channel is Mars Project Genesis. Drop the link if you can, Photography Light. If you can, drop the link and I'll give it to them. And then, there you go. I'm glad you reminded me, by the way. Let me see where they go. I hate it when it does this. Yeah, Pete, I did see that. You said Curiosity did a great panoramic, for its 3,000 a day yesterday. Go to CBS News. Yeah, I seen that. It's actually pretty cool. But you notice how it's not very big. I mean, it shows it, but if you go on there, you can click on it. In fact, you can go on to NASA and it'll show it, right? But what I didn't like about it is like, you could click on it, and it was kind of rather small. And of course, you zoomed on it, and it just kind of broke apart. And yeah, you think it was a little clearer than that, seeing it's the 3,000 day, Phil C., I'm with you on that. He said, if I hit the Powerball, I'm going to finance us our own rover, or at least our own satellite. That would be sweet. Or a simple flyby, right? That would be sweet, too. Take a nice high-def photos and stuff. That would be sweet. All right, let me jump way back down here. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to end up doing that atmospheric pressure. So change the dish pic. Well, that's only just an introduction before we start. But, yeah. In fact, we get a couple pages, and we actually have a panorama to do today. So I know a lot of you guys missed those. So we'll go over those too. So that'd be pretty sweet. What's going on there, Ways Easy? John Shop's in there. What's going on, John Shop? Maduka, what's happening? Good to see you in there. Oh, yeah, we'll definitely be changing that up. Because you said, what was it? Space and planetary pics in your background. Oh, yeah, we've already had that on mine. We're definitely going to be doing that too. Mimi, Gigapan, yay! Yeah, it's been a while since we've done them. In fact, I'm almost positive I did a video on this very pan, or at least parts of it. And there's some crazy things, and you kind of look and you go, okay, I'm seeing something in there that's not quite natural, kind of like everything we see in these pans. Most of it we can see as rocks and hills and stuff like that, but there's always those things that stick out of the ground, the side of a hill, or a rock, whatever it may be. So, yeah. Yeah, Martin Lewis, he said, any news on the UFO disclosure, or do we have to wait for another 180 days? Well, it's not 180 now, but, yeah, it's still looking like the middle of the year in July, so we'll have to see what happens, right? We'll have to see. But it doesn't mean that something won't come out during that time, so I'm always open ears and open eyes, you know what I mean? And I'm sure you guys are, too. What's going on, Equalizer? Good to see you there. He said, hi, everyone. Hope you are all okay. I am. Equalizer, hope you're doing well as well. Eric Blair's in there. What's going on, Eric? Said, Chris, have you checked out the UFO declassified papers yet? Well, are they recent, though? Because I know we had, I think it was a little bit while ago, we had looked at some of these. So I don't know if it's the ones you're talking about. Was it just recent, Eric? If so, if you got a link or something, just go ahead and drop a link. We'll go ahead and we'll check that out. Yep. There you go, Noodles. 166 days. Let's see. Eric Bauer's in there. What's going on, Eric? He said, sorry I'm late. Nah, you're good. Brother, we're only in it 20 minutes, so you're good. Let's see before this thing scrolls on here. Jeffrey 050711. The CIA document release on the Black Vault didn't seem to produce any good information. I know, that's what sucks. And a lot of times, you guys ever notice that? They'll go, they release this, and you go, oh, wow, I can't wait to see this. And you click on it, something you already seen. Or pretty much you knew about, even if it wasn't the whole thing, right? So everybody's waiting for that good chunk that's like, yeah, get some good meat there, you know what I mean? Clerks 93. Somehow I'm tend to agree with you. He said 166 days till we get disappointed. LOL. Well, let's hope it's a little extra meat there. They can give us and see what happens, right? What's going on there, Brian? Good to see you there, Mr. Brian Norton. He said hi, Chris. Go Browns. Yeah, it's crazy. I'd love to see them actually put out some real information this time, where we can all go, yeah, that's something we haven't heard about, right? We'll see. We will see. Let's see here. Speaking of seeing. So, yeah, we got, I don't know if you guys have seen this. This, of course, is at Earth, or down to Earth, if you will. Archaeology news, simple, they put. 350,000-year Israeli stone is oldest known grinding tool found. Now, what's funny about it is every time we go back, it's like we're seeing more older and older and older things. Wait a minute. Again, go back 10, 20 years. 10, 20 years, guys. Man was still what? How many thousands of years old? At least mainstream. You know what I mean? And now, if you've been, I use the term almost like underground, right? But if you've been into like the news, the real news, then it's like, well, like I said, we start off, we were 5,000 years old, 10,000, 20, now 30, now 60, now this. And before you know it, now it's like we're 500,000 years old. It just keeps going on. And here's the thing. How do we know, out of all of the, let's see, trying to think here, the different testing they can do, age things. Different ways they can age, check the age of things. And what's funny about it is they have, carbon dating. They got all kinds of different tests, right? But are they that good, and we all know the answer to this, to how far back it goes? So they might get misinformation, really no good information on any kind of testing that's something much older. So with that in mind, we really don't know how old intelligent man is. Not so much Neanderthal, but as far as actual, intelligent man. Now, as far as I'm concerned, if anything or anyone is using some kind of tool to break open or carve something, then that's pretty intelligent. They're not just picking a nose and just standing there looking at the sun, right? So at some point, they're all intelligent, right? Think about it. Well, you have to be smart enough to go hunt your own food, so on and so forth, to do the everyday life Just because you didn't live in a structure that's all brick and lights and everything else doesn't mean you weren't intelligent to some degree, at least for back then. Now, as far as technologically advanced humans, well, that's different. It's only X amount of years, or at least so we think. So the dates always get pushed back. You guys know that. I mean, it just goes back and back and back. And I love that. And I'll give you the link to this because it's got the video on this. And I don't know if I can actually play this, so I kind of don't want to do that because of any kind of copyright. But, I mean, I could do it without sound, but it doesn't have any closed caption to it, and that kind of sucks. I mean, we can still play it in the background, but you won't be able to hear anything other than what it's showing here. But I find it really interesting. I love that because, they're reproducing it. You see, they're doing a 3D version of it. And, of course, the best way they know how, they found different things, and they found what it looks like. They were making tools to actually, grind and do all the different things. And I believe some of this, you can see, was in South Africa. They're showing parts of this. And really, really awesome. And so as we go back, in fact, it was Julia. Let me see here. Hold on. Okay, shut that off. We were, Sarah's good friend. It was funny. She goes, I knew it. So she's seen this article as well. And, like I said, 350,000 years ago, we're going back. And these people in 350,000 years ago might have just been people like they are, almost like a Neanderthal kind of thing. But that doesn't mean there wasn't smarter people. Don't we have other countries out there right now that are so far behind? Like they're indigenous to like a certain island, and all they do is they hunt, and they're hunters and gatherers even today. And they don't have any kind of luxuries, any kind of technologies, no nothing. And yet, what do we got? We got both, kind of things going on. People who are well advanced and some people who are not. Why couldn't they have that way back then? Maybe when the Antarctic, when those structures were built, maybe they were high-tech beings and we still had Neanderthals back then. Or at least people that weren't up to technological standards. How do we know, right? So, Phil Cox with daughters Jessica and Kelsey Brown. Hi, Chris. Hi, everyone. What's going on, brother? Good to see you in there. I actually had to shut my Alexa up to say Alexa. Alexa said, yep. If I had said that, she would have came on. Let's see. Leslie Warren, you said they were more smarter than us modern folk. And I think in a lot of ways that's true. Because like I said, if you go back and you see these things in Antarctica, and if it was in fact 96,000 to 120,000 years ago these things were built, well, clearly they were way ahead of their time and way ahead of what we are today. And, it's intriguing. You wish you can all go there and just check it out yourselves, right? Alexa says, woman. Okay. Sounds good. Eric Bliss says ancient civilizations were well up in astronomy. Well, absolutely. I agree with you. A lot of ancient civilizations. Think about it. If you really think about this, people were just sitting back, and that's all they could do was look at the stars. They got moonlight and light from the stars as well as the moon. It was basically like a giant nightlight. So that's all they focused themselves on, and they just, focused on the sky, and they can place, where everything was going to be, and they can, tell you when there's going to be certain, like, eclipses and all kinds of other stuff. So these guys, that's all they could do, and they were smart about it, and they tracked it really, really well. In fact, we are now probably just as good as they were. Now, it should be the other way around, but you know what I mean? But, yeah, it's just awesome. Thank you very much again, James. I appreciate you. He said, Chris, I watched an interview Dr. Stephen Greer did with the Navy Coast Guard recently and his guys talking about a craft that they were brought up on to the vessel he was on, and he seems pretty honest to me. I don't think I've seen that. Was that a recent one, Brian? Because I'm trying to think if that's the same guy I've seen before. I just go like this and do this, refresh this. But, yeah, because that's, I'm trying to remember if I went by there and glanced at it and seen that. But just let me know. And, by the way, again, thank you very much for your support. I appreciate you. Manny Palacios, what's going on? A Graylian tried having relations with my pet. Well, that's not good. That's not good at all. Let's see. Eric, that skull had a face mask on it. Man, even back then, huh? Leslie said, I love this archaeology, Chris. I did it. Go for the normal dogma. Chris, I was a very open-minded archaeologist in my time and love it. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to have been doing that. In fact, my daughter was going to actually do that, and she decided to go a different path, something totally different. But, still, I mean, that's pretty interesting. Of course, you got to be funded for all that and all that stuff. But I just find it interesting, especially if you hit a site where, that nobody's ever found before, and that's cool, or you get to work with these people. That's just neat. Let me jump down here. Martin Penwright, you said Tesla Tower on Sarah's video. Seen one exactly the same on the moon. Yes, you'll see more than one of those towers on the moon, by the way. In fact, somebody was just talking about alien hunter stuff, and he was just doing a great video on that. And I was actually watching your alien hunter, if you're still in there. I was watching your recent one. You just had go live today. I was watching that one as well. Just cool stuff. In fact, that's the one. I think you did the same photo. You're going over the moon video I just did. Really, really good stuff. And I looked at the other video you had done where it showed it looked like towers and stuff like that in these craters. And I think that's awesome, What's going on, Six? Good to see you in there, brother. You said, hi, Chris. Hope your day is going your way. I'm doing fine here. That's awesome, brother. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I think we're seeing a lot of similarities, whether it be the way things were constructed. Now, if we could actually do this, go to Antarctica, go to the moon, I'll bet we find a lot of similarities. What do you guys think? Would you think they'd be totally different? Or do you think the same people who may have built whatever's in Antarctica, maybe at that time technology was pretty high back then, and maybe we were going back and forth to the moon? Huh? Maybe? What do you guys think about that? Six again says, hello, everyone from Illinois. What's happening, Mr. Six? Hope you're doing well. Hope the weather's pretty decent. We're about 39 degrees Fahrenheit here. And had rain and snow and crap. And then it was sunny for about, 3 or 4 hours. And then right back into the crap again. Supposed to have snow again tomorrow. So I was like, yes. How I Hate Winter, chapter 430. Yeah. Definitely going to move down south, guys. This is just not for me. I don't mind it. Don't get me wrong. I love snow. But like I said before, I think if we could actually have snow out of 70, that would be pretty awesome, wouldn't it? Of course, we know that wouldn't be real, but that would be pretty cool. And nobody would care. Everybody would be out in shorts and still playing with the snow. But we know in reality that's not going to happen, right? John Shop says, -1. Ooh. It's cold here, snow flurries. Yeah, I think we're actually getting some of that coming down. Because we're getting the El Nino this year where it's actually just coming right across from Washington, coming down, swooping down in. And, of course, we're getting some from up north near Canada, coming down from Canada and stuff like that. So, yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Six. She says, snow sucks. Looks cool, but I hate shoveling it. Yeah, I mean, it's unless, of course, you got a four-wheel drive. Like I said, I just go four-wheel drive, just pull right out of there. But I don't have a four-wheel drive now, so... Yeah, if I get any significant amount of snow, it's like, oh, sorry, boss, can't come in. No, I'd still shovel and driving it. I don't care. Unless, of course, it was too high for the car, then, yeah, we'll just go ahead and stay home. David R., what's going on? You said, greetings from a very cold Salford, UK. Man, it seems like a lot of people are cold out there. Somebody was just saying earlier, they said it was middle of summer and still chilly. So, yeah, you'll get that. I don't know about you guys, but it's you'll be let's say, last summer for us was 90, 95, all summer. It gets 80 out and you feel chilly because you're so acclimated to the higher temps that all of a sudden you're like, good Lord. So, yeah. Peter Ferrero, he said, Brad Steigers theorized the moon traveled by ancient civilizations also back in 1973. Yeah, now did he... I'm trying to remember. He sounds familiar. But was he talking about, did the moon itself travel, meaning it was brought here, or was he saying that it could still be piloted and moved? Because I'm just kind of curious, because I don't know, when you say brought here, when you read on that and it said it was brought here, Was it towed by some craft, or was it actually moved here on its own? That's where it really gets tricky. What did you guys hear about that? You guys get that? Was that? What the heck? The National Rifle Association files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, will relocate to Texas. That's bizarre, and strange. But it just popped on my Twitter notifications. I'm like, what in the hell? I have noodles. In fact, I got that up here, and you can see it. Where is it at? Right here. FM signal found coming from Jupiter moon, and they're talking about Ganymede, like Noodles is saying. What's funny about it is if you, I think it's Juno is the spacecraft. If you remember, when you read the story, they were talking about how it was going between Jupiter and Ganymede. Now, the first thing that comes to my mind, because we get all like, speculative and, sci-fi, maybe it's just them communicating back and forth, and they just happen to go right between it. And of course, they're not saying that. They're saying it's like a molecular structure, and these molecules vibrate so quick that they become a frequency, and that's probably more likely is what's going on, which would make sense to me. But, when you think about what we're seeing on Mars, the moon, even on our own planet, it doesn't seem very far-fetched. I'm not saying that's what's going on. I'm just saying, but it doesn't seem far-fetched that this could actually happen, right? And, of course, you see right here, it's not E.T., Wiggins said. It's more of a natural function. Oh, yeah, it's never. Even if it was E.T., it wouldn't matter. They're just going to just chalk it off as, oh, yeah, it's just simple noise of the planet. And don't get me wrong, it could very well be. It makes perfect sense. Like I said, you get these, vibrating at a certain frequency, and next thing you know, it sounds like it's actual radio signals, right? Juno was sent out to study how Jupiter formed and evolved over time. Juno's primary goal is to reveal the story of Jupiter's formation and evolution. I'm sorry. Make this hair a bit bigger and better. Using long-proven technologies on a spinning spacecraft placed in an elliptical polar orbit. So polar orbit, you guys know, it does this instead of going around the equatorial region, right? Juno will observe Jupiter's gravity and magnetic fields, atmospheric dynamics, and composition and evolution, according to NASA. But you see it right here, as a spacecraft orbiting Jupiter discovered a FM radio signal from Ganymede, one of the gas giant's moons. The discovery marks the first time a signal has been detected from Ganymede. Now, I did a video on Ganymede. You guys have seen this, right? Where they say it's like these, vapor being shot out of the moon because of you've got this tugging going on from Jupiter. It's gravitational field, and it's kind of pushing and pulling on it, so it actually makes the core of Ganymede hot. They believe there's icy ocean under there, under the layer. My argument, it's bull, because they don't appear to be geysers. They appear to be actual high-intensity lights. Now, and the reason why I came up with that is because I've showed pictures where these are in the South Pole, and there's one photo that it shows the sun coming from a different direction from this area. All the lights are down here completely out of the sunlight, and they're brighter than hell. How can that be? Now, I get it if these geysers are directly in the sunlight, because you got these ice crystals, and of course they're reflective. What does it look like? Kind of has that kind of look of light. Makes perfect sense, and I would have went with that until I seen these other photos. I went, okay, wait a minute, let me see. I believe what they're saying scientifically, and it makes absolute sense. But wait a minute, when it shows it in this other picture, the sunlight's nowhere near the southern pole of that. The sun was coming from the northeast part of it, and these things were brighter than bright. How does that make sense? And then I showed you another video where you can see, and some people have been putting it on Facebook recently now, I see, where you can see these geysers, but it looks like there's rectangular, like these shadows behind and in between these geysers. Wait a minute, how is there shadows that are rectangular? So something's casting light on something in order to be cast at a shadow. Yeah, I don't believe that's the case, guys. That's just my opinion. Now, I'm not saying everybody has to agree with me, but if you've seen my Ganymede photos, you know exactly what I'm talking about. In fact, I believe they're on my Mars. You just put Ganymede in the search box on my channel, and you'll see several of these. And I don't believe they're geysers. And when you analyze all the photos I show you, it doesn't seem that way at all. John Sharp, you said the moon, Mars, and Earth were occupied by many beings and we were left behind. And most beings are up there have given up on us, unless we are space food for them. Well, I mean, I agree with you. We were all occupied, meaning, like you said, Mars, Moon, Earth. Now, is it possible we're just descendants of these beings? In other words, when we had these four, we're in the fifth cycle now, but these four cataclysmic events, whether it's ice ages, meteor hits, whatever it may be, great floods, whatever. And every time they have that, it almost kills off man. And of course, they have to start all over again. And every time we start over again, we get more and more technologically advanced. Or do we? Or was it more advanced back then, during the first cycle of man? It's hard to tell. But I believe if we were, that's a big if we were back then, first cycle, and it's like 120,000 years ago, whatever it was, then we were probably going everywhere in our own solar system. Or was it other beings coming throughout our solar system, and one of the places here was Earth, right? And you think back then, Earth was not what it was. I believe, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, Earth had more oxygen. And because there was obviously, man wasn't industrialized or any of that. Less carbon. Well, there would have been more carbon, depending on how you look at it, because there was more plant life. A lot more oxygen. It was dense back then. And then all of these catastrophic events happen, right? But if we were to believe that this stuff is actually true, where from the first cycle we were intelligent then, and I mean technologically intelligent, then we could have been doing all what we're doing now and much further. In other words, we're much more technologically advanced then, and we were probably traveling the solar system. Who knows? And maybe Mars was thriving back then. Again, all speculation. We don't know. But it's pretty interesting when you think about it, right? David Clark says Ganymede's oceans are about 60 miles deep. More ocean than on Earth. Well, that's what they say. I know there was somewhere around there was those figures. And I'm just wondering, though, because it's kind of like Earth. There's a lot of land, but there's a lot of water. I think it's 70% of Earth. But just like Ganymede, I wonder if it's all ocean under the actual icy, shell. So just watch the video. If you haven't had a chance to watch my Ganymede, just watch them. I mean, you'll see one. In fact, it shows the actual moon with these geysers. I think on one of the, it's actually the snapshot of the actual video. But either way, I don't believe those are geysers at all. At first, I was going, yeah, it makes perfect sense, because I believe in science, right? And I'm looking at that, I'm going, that makes absolute sense to me. I'm cool with that. Until you see, like I said, South Pole, sunlight's nowhere near it. It's completely, that whole bottom of the South Pole is completely in the dark, and yet these are brighter than heck. No. Just your common sense has to kick in. How is this possible? If the sun's not shining in it, how is it reflecting off of the ice particles? Now, you can argue the point that, wait a minute, maybe this sunlight coming off of its mother, its mothering planet, the Jupiter itself. That's a good possibility. But you just see the rest of the whole South Pole of that moon lit up. That's my argument was. And people are like, you don't understand. It's not about understanding, man. I've read the science. I understand it. But your common sense has to kick in as well, right? So you kind of like come up with your own, conclusions once you read all of the stuff up on whatever topic it is, right? Colin Crowther, hi from Perth, Australia. What's going on? Good to see you in there, Colin. Mimi Reacts, she said, I heard Utah's a hotbed for UFO sightings. I'm asking myself, why? What is so interesting about it? Well, it depends on how you look at it. If you're in more of a desolate area or a desert area and away from cities and stuff, not too many people are going to see you. So this is the reason why you have some people I see like out in frozen tundras. You can see like some people say, oh, no, we've seen UFOs out there. You're not going to be seen. Not too many people are going to see you. So I guess that would make sense. Now, I know there was mass sightings in some of these places like Nevada and Utah and stuff like that. So I don't know. Chipping. Let's see. Mike Hoover, what's going on? He said, yo, what's up, my beautiful cats? What's going on, Mike? Good to see you there, man. Let's see. Papa Lex 606 says, hi, Chris. Just watch your structures and ruins found on Mars, Valles Marineris video the other night, and couldn't believe what I was seeing. Amazing work. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, again, if people would just take the time to see what's in these photos, and I've said this, guys, I'm just like you. I'm no special than you. I've got eyes just like you. I don't do anything special out of it. What I do is take my time and look at these things, look at these photos over, and really check them out. And then, of course, I will enhance them to bring out lines and stuff like that. But if people just take their time to really, truly skim over these things nice and slowly, they'll find much more things than just going, oh, that's a nice photo. Next. Yeah, you got to take your time and you'll see this stuff. And like I said, I'm not doing anything different that you guys couldn't do, you know? Charlene Sampson, what's going on? You say, hello, Chris. How are you? Charlene, I hope you're doing well. Mimi, oh, that was your phone. I thought it was mine. No, it was mine. I was just like, ping, so I just shut off the notifications. 6 says, don't forget the thumbs up, people. What do we get, like 142 watching, 93? Guys, slam it. Hit it hard. Let's see. All right, let's see what else we got here. All right, that was there. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen this. It Sounds of Mars and stuff like that. But, and of course, they got one coming. It says you on Mars. So I guess it depends on the actual density of the oxygen and stuff like that and what you would sound like. So that should be interesting. But, you know, they got Earth sounds and everything else. And they've got one down here. If you go down, I think it's on this page. See if I can't find it. There was one in here. There's one that shows it was actually one of the pumps on the Perseverance rover. Because you can see right here. And then come back to hear how our version matched up with the real sounds of Mars as captured by 2 microphones on board. Yeah, because it's supposed to have 2 mics. It's supposed to be for descending and stuff like that, which I'm going, so let me get this right. So it's like being in your car doing about 90 miles an hour. Let me shove a microphone in the front of it so we can hear how fast we're going. Well, we know what that's going to turn out to sound like. Wind noise. Now, they did say that when it lands, you're going to actually hear the wheels hit the ground and actually, you know, crunchy sounds from the soil and stuff like that, or the dirt. It says, ever wonder how you would sound on Mars? Grab your headsets, turn up the volume, and listen for the subtle differences between the sounds on Earth versus how they would sound on the Red Planet. Tune in to watch Perseverance rover land on Mars February 18, 2021, right? So that ought to be interesting. You know, I can't wait for that. I know you guys can't either. So the Perseverance rover carries 2 microphones, letting us directly record the sounds of Mars for the very first time. One, an experimental mic, may capture the landing itself. The other mic is for science. Both mics may even capture sounds the rover makes. Wouldn't that make sense if it did? I'm just confused. If it's a good microphone, it can pick up probably a fly farting on it. You know what I mean? I mean, if it's a good mic, right? And you know they're going to do much more than that. It's not just for that. You know, they're just going to just flick it on. Let's see what we can hear. Is there anything flying around? Is it just wind sounds? You know, whatever. You know, think about it. You might be able to hear water. Yeah. They're not just going to put these on there for no reason. I still have a problem with believing that even back in the day, on the Viking lander, had cameras on there, never put ears. What's easy to transmit? A simple sound bite or an actual photo and video? Or just a plain photo? And don't get me wrong, they had crude instruments back compared to what they got today, but still, a simple 5-second sound bite or 10 seconds shouldn't take up that much data. And you can make it short, even if they just want to hear like 5 seconds of it. It wouldn't be that bad to do. So I'm sure they're putting the mics on there. At least they're saying this is the first rover or machine to go to Mars to have these. But they say that your voice would be a lot lower compared to, because of the density of the air and stuff like that, that you would have to almost yell to hear yourself, which you sound like just normal talking. So, yeah. Let's see. Even though Earth and Mars are entirely different planets, it may be comforting to know that if you were on Mars, you might still sound pretty much like yourself. If you were standing on Mars, you'd have a quieter, more muffled version of what you'd hear on Earth, and you'd wait slightly longer to hear it. On Mars, the atmosphere is entirely different, but the biggest change to audio would be that the high-pitched sounds higher than most voices. Some sounds that were used we're used to on Earth rather, like whistles, bells, and bird songs, would almost be inaudible on Mars. So it'd probably be more like a deep sounding kind of weird, muffly sound as opposed to high-pitched noises. But I think the atmosphere is better than what they're saying. So, yeah. And, of course, you guys will get this here. You'll get this page here. It talks about sounds and how it's going to act on Mars. It looks at the showing right here, the EDL microphone highlighted in blue attached to the left side of the rover. Well, let's see. I hate it when it does that. And you can see it right there. Of course, we got its power plant right here and mass cam. Your what do you call it there? Your turret, the arm, and everything with all the tools. So, yeah, there's one of the mics. So, I think that's interesting. You'll have one up here on the actual mass cam. You can see that up there. Yeah. What do you guys think? You think that's what they're exactly using it for? Or do you think there's other reasons why they're using these microphones as well? Let me see here. Six, you said, yep. I use a mag glass out of habit to scour images. That plus magnifying my monitor monitor screen really helps bring out a lot. Yeah, I mean, especially the things, when you try to zoom into a photo, these things break apart. Sometimes you can just zoom in a little bit and then use a magnifier, whether it's a whole screen magnifier or just your, a loop, a jewel's eye, or a magnifier rather, or just a regular handheld magnifier. Makes a world of difference in seeing what's really there, right? What's going on there, Lucky Mull? Good to see you in there. He said, hey, Chris, I admired your tenacity. Hopefully all of the forthcoming document dumps will reveal the truth about Mars. Fingers crossed. I truly hope so too, man. I mean, so it'll kind of confirm. Now, of course, they're not going to let everything out. We know that. But if it confirms just a little bit, I think they're afraid if they say, okay, we have live microbial life. What does it tell you? Usually if there's microbial life, you can almost believe there's macro. Now, that doesn't always... Macro, rather. Not mackerel, because that's a fish. But but macro. You can almost bet that there's going to be bigger life than that. And I believe they're going to find that. I predicted this a while back. They're going to find some kind of moss on there at some point. And, we went around the corner because it's more moist over here. We found like little trees and whatever. Or some kind of plant growth or something. Might be something similar to what we see in a desert. Somewhat, They'll find it. And I hope they start dumping some real information because I think everybody's waiting for that in a big way, right? Maybe. Can't wait to hear a Martian gossiping about us. That would be pretty interesting, wouldn't it? Man, here they come again to send another goddamn piece of shit over here. Oh, man. But, no, I mean, can you imagine if there is life there, though, and they're seeing these things? It's like, how would we react if we had something that was alien land on our planet and it was driving around? The only thing I can see, because people say, well, maybe there's still life there. If that's true, let's say there's beings like our size. Wouldn't they have already killed these things a long time ago? But if some of us believe, if there's smaller beings, would they be able to do any damage to this thing? Probably not. Keep in mind, guys, there's an actual laser on board of this thing. So, yeah, that's pretty wild. So, although it's made to actually hit rocks, and basically it gets the vapor off of it and sees what it's basically a rock's made out of, right? So it can basically sniff the vapors that come off this thing and basically see what the composition of the rock is. But if it can actually blast a good dent in a rock, what do you think it'll do to your skin? Think about that a minute. That'd be pretty crazy. But, yeah. Oh, this thing just went zoomed down on me. Let's do this. Let me see. Olin Creo, what's going on? You said, I wonder how sound will travel in a 1% atmosphere. If we would have believed that, Olin, I don't believe that's true. Just like they say the sky itself is red, and just the lander itself showed that we had a blue sky. So are they telling the full truth about what's really on Mars? I think the atmosphere is much thicker than it really is. Now, the oxygen level may not be quite as much as Earth, but I don't think it's as little as they're saying either. Like I said, the InSight lander, when it landed, the very first photo was blue skies. And, oh, wait a minute. Not 10 seconds later, 5 tenths later, it showed a photo, it was all orange, or this reddish color. And everybody's seen it had a blue sky. So think about that a minute. So are they really telling the truth about Mars? I don't believe so. That's just my opinion. I don't believe that they are at all. No, let's see. Rolando Alves, what's going on? You said, hi, Chris and gang. What's going on, Rolando? I hope you're doing well. Equalize says, my birthday is 18th of February. So is my sister's. Yep. So you should be able to remember that pretty well, as far as the landing, right? Susan, how are you? Good to see you in there. You said, hi, Chris. Love your content. Keep up the great work. I'm new to this subject. My son shoved me one of your videos a few days ago, and I've been hooked since. Fascinating to see what's hidden up there. Well, I appreciate you joining us there, Susan. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things we find in here that doesn't quite look natural, so we question it. It's as simple as that. Now, a lot of times we'll speculate because we can't go there and handle it and touch, do whatever, sniff it, handle it. And so the only thing we can do is speculate as to what these things could be. But we can all agree that it doesn't look natural and naturally occurring. So that's what we basically do on this channel. And I've got Lunar Anomalies and Beyond as well. That's basically all moon. So just some crazy things in here that just doesn't make sense. And basically what we're saying is we're just part of something much larger. And that we, there's been more beings here, or we're descendants of other beings. Of course, again, speculation. We really don't know. But from what we're bringing through these photos, you're seeing things on Mars, the moon, and our own Antarctica region, things that are being hidden and stuff like that. It starts even on our own planet. And if you look at our ancient civilizations, they were pretty brilliant when they built a lot of this stuff. So we're starting to learn a lot about our past civilizations and actually who we are. And every time we go back, it's like we're going back further and further. Like man is much older than we were initially told. So basically anything you were taught in history, you can toss out the window, at least when it came to ancient civilizations, right? So, yeah. So anyway, welcome aboard. Good to have you in there. 786 Autos in the house. What's going on? You said, not really, Chris. I think that Mars is dead. Does not mean that there was never in life, I guess, there in the past. I believe there's still some kind of life. And I don't mean... I'm more like 2080 as far as there being life on Mars at all, as far as humans or beings. Some people say, hey, maybe they're living underground. Could very well be. We can only speculate about that. But as far as plant growth, I think there is. And I think they're going to find something. At the very least, they're going to find microbial life, right? I think at the very least. So we'll see what happens with that. What's going on, Farmer? Good to see you in there. He said, break it. Autocorrect. So... He said they wouldn't dream if the two governments have an agreement. Yeah, well, yeah. Let's see. J.D. Murfreesboro, you said, I thought the alien hunter was a different guy. So you must be talking to somebody else, I guess. Yeah, Pete Frary said even fossils of microorganisms mean life existed. Absolutely. And even if they find only that, Okay, so we know it was at least that. Now, they say Mars was a lot like Earth back millions of years ago, at least according to them. So if it had green, it had an ocean, of course, and it was more ocean. I think there was just one piece of land like we had initially at one point. So with that being said, I think there's a lot more on that planet. If they do any kind of core drilling, I think they'll find what like they found in Antarctica, where they find ice, and then of course there's like a mud type thing, and then they found organics. I think that's what they'll find. They are sending a drill up on Perseverance. Remember that. So yeah, this will be interesting. What's funny about it is they're saying, oh yeah, any samples we'll find, we're just going to go ahead and put them in these small tubes, and we're going to drop them right on the planet, so that when man does go there, we can collect them. Wait a minute, you're not going to do any kind of like sampling? You're not going to put it through the, you're not going to analyze it? You're not going to do any of that? I mean, what's going on here, right? No, let's see. What's going on there, Frank Miklos? He said the atmosphere on Mount Everest is much thinner, but recordings from there sound similar to sounds at sea level. I highly doubt that sounds will be much different on Mars. I mean, they say it'll be slightly different, I guess, as far as they're saying high-pitched sounds. Now, I don't know as far as if that's going to be true or not. I guess we'll see, right? That ought to be interesting. Indrid Cole, good to see you in there. He said, Chris, if aliens were to land on Earth and inform us that there was no God, or that God is actually a completely different kind of being to any of Earth's religions, do you think we would listen? I guess we would, because if you think about it, maybe even though there's a lot of people that, when you believe in God, you're saying, okay, I believe that. But some people may be puzzled as far as origins. Like, they'll say, well, where did he come from? So they may say, oh, they just have a better understanding of who God is, right? I don't know. I think a lot of people would be open-minded to that. Like I said, there's a lot of religious people I know said, yeah, it says in like the King James or something like that, there was like 99 worlds out there. And of course, Earth was one of the bad ones, and they had to cleanse it. God had to cleanse it, whatever. So to me, I just think I don't think people would be freaked out about it. I think we would listen, especially if aliens did actually approach Earth. They'd be like, okay. Again, we would confirm we are part of something larger, and it would make you question everything that you know, wouldn't it? Well, wait a minute, if these people here, who created them? Oh, it was probably God, and they probably wouldn't, their belief would not be shaken. So, it's just weird. It's kind of, you got to think of all angles of that. How would you react to that yourself? Would you freak out? Would you say, BS? But just the sheer fact of something coming out of the sky and it's not ours and it is alien beings, it would make you wonder, like, oh, wow, this changes a whole new, way of thinking. Chris, if there was microphones going on a rover, its cost is telling you, NASA, want to hear or listen to something, and it is not the rover rolling along. Well, my thing is, why would NASA build it so you can hear? I mean, I understand the landing part, right? They want to hear actually hit the ground and everything, because basically the wheels sound like if you'd have put like 50-gallon drums, steel drums, just roll them on their side, going over. Just picture that. It's metallic sound. It kind of sounds a little similar to that, right? Because these basically are aluminum wheels. I think they were like 60 thousandths thick, at least on the Curiosity rover. Not sure what it's going to be like on this, or they're very similar. Because if you can see, they look very similar to the Curiosity rover itself, although they are slightly different in the actual, I'm going to use the term rim because it's not a rubber tire on here, right? But the way it's designed is slightly different. But if it is like 60 thousandths, because they're trying to keep the weight down, of course, and if it's true about what they say about the gravity on Mars, think about it. This has always puzzled me, and I've said this before. You get the rover, and let's say it weighs, I think they said it's just shy of 2,000 pounds, or roughly give or take 200 pounds of 2,000, right? Okay. Now, taking consideration the actual gravity on Mars, then, okay, divide that into the weight. Now, divide the weight of each wheel, all the weight of that, and divide it into each wheel. I figured it out as something like I don't know if it was 150, 170 pounds or whatever it was per wheel. So it's much lighter. It might have been even lighter than that, because I don't remember the calculations now. This was years ago when I calculated this. And I said to myself, I'm going, okay, so why the big gash in these wheels? If it's only, let's say it's only 100, 120 pounds, 120 pounds give or take, on each wheel, and it's rolling along really slowly. Wow. I saw one that had a gash in it. It looked like a piece of steel went right through it. There's a gash. It was a rip in the actual wheel. Not a dent in a hole, an actual tear in the whole wheel. It's like, what is this thing running over that it does that? That's just weird. So, yeah. Go all the way down to the bottom here so we can see what everybody's saying here. Mr. Seven Digit, you said, I believe Mars was at its prime, millions of years, with an advanced civilization. But due to some of your work, I also believe that they began to rebuild after a horrific war on nuclear. Yeah, or it took place during that time. In other words, they might have been where we are now, and then they had gotten taken out. And if we had taken account these nuclear blasts in the atmosphere in 1941, it was actually witnessed in the atmosphere. Did Mars life end then? Because think about it. They say it was something that was probably a war. Well, wait a minute. There had to have been people on that planet in order to have a nuclear war, or they were bombed by somebody or something else from outside of Mars. What happened? So there was life there at that point, if those are in fact true. In other words, the nuclear blasts or explosions, one was larger, one was smaller, in the atmosphere or lower atmosphere, like in the sky, of Mars. If that's true, there was people living there. So it was up to that point, people were still alive. That's why I don't believe, some people say, oh no, this had to have been thousands of years ago. Well, I don't believe that's that old. I really don't. Indrid Cole, thank you very much for your support. I do appreciate you. He said, your work is incredibly important. Well, I appreciate that. Well, I mean, between myself, David Gannett, good friend of mine, Thomas Mikey, everybody involved, my good friend Billy Carson, there's a lot of us doing this work, Alien Hunter. And again, if you were to gather this information from each of the channels and you find something that's extraordinary, in other words, something that's not, natural. Okay, you're taking different pieces from these videos and go, okay. And again, we're putting this puzzle together. We're reading science papers. We're reading things about Mars, although I don't believe a lot of it's true, but because that's based on research. But when you start to put all these together, you start seeing yourself, again, we're part of something much larger. And that there's more out there than just us. It's as simple as that, right? So when you start to piece all of this together, there's no doubt in my mind, again, we were never the first and the only special ones in this universe. We're just part of something very, very tiny. Well, it's very large, but we're just tiny people over here in this neighborhood, so to speak, that might have been, thriving with life, and I mean civilized life, and then it was just a neighborhood that was just left. Maybe it changed over thousands of years, where climates changed on planets. The sun changed over millions and millions of years, right? So I believe it's getting larger. It's supposed to actually keep going till it basically burns out. So, yourself, well, we may have been part of something much, much larger, and I think that's the case, right? Julia, good to see you in there. Thank you very much for your support. Always appreciate it. You know that. You said, I believe the civilizations on Mars are far more recent than the current mainstream narrative indicates. And I totally agree. It's just like I was just saying. If this is back in 1941, do the math. I mean, it's not that long ago. This is the reason why we're seeing these objects that shouldn't be there. Think about this. If these were millions of years old, between being sandblasted through the sandstorms and everything. We shouldn't see this stuff. We shouldn't see it. It should be like completely just eroded away by wind, sand, and stuff like that. And there is a water cycle in Gale Crater. So depending on what these, if there was metals, which I believe there were, depending on what they were made out of, they'd be all gone too. In other words, simple metals, irons, and stuff like that. Now, if it's a better metal, like stainless steel, something like pure stainless steel, probably still be there, but not likely. Of course, that doesn't mean that they haven't. So yeah, I believe it's much, much more recent than they're saying. So that's why I don't believe that. If that happened back then and it truly happened in 1941, there was a civilization there. So there you go. And again, Julia, thanks for your support. Much love to you. Appreciate you. Let me see. This thing just jumped on me here. Stephen Porter said, Chris, the indigenous people of Earth was the Neanderthal Homo sapiens, like beings to Earth from another world, and bred with Neanderthals, resulting in us. I do believe we are the result of two species. We may be. A lot of people, excuse me, a lot of people think that we were brought here. So, from other species, other alien beings out there. Again, pure speculation. But we don't know that. Based on what we're seeing on the moon and on Mars and some of the things we're seeing in Antarctica, think about it. They were space travel. Simple as that. Space travel means either, again, we were much more advanced thousands of years ago, like would indicate back in Antarctica, and Julie will agree to this, just like Sarah wrote her thesis, where she believes 96,000 years to 120,000 years ago that these things were there, and there was an actual industrialization there as well. So, if that's true and it was not us, and they were intelligent, meaning technologically advanced, we might have been, maybe we're descendants of these people, that were actually going throughout our solar system and then some. If it was us, wow. And if it was not us, it doesn't matter. There's things on the moon, things on our planet, things on Mars. They were space travel. Somebody was doing it. So, there you go, right? David Clark, he said, I'd love to be whipping across the galaxy at light speed, cranking Black Sabbath's Heaven and Hell. Oh, man, yeah, it's pretty good. Oh, yeah. Or playing the Born Again album. That would be pretty badass, wouldn't it? They just jumped on me. I hate it when it does it. Okay, there we go. Alien Hunter said, I don't know who he's answering. He said, if I knew the truth, I would tell you, number one. Absolutely. Nacho Libre's in the house. I didn't even know you snuck it in yet. Nacho, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Hope you're doing well. Lee Herring says, Jean Ward has some pretty cool stuff. The res he finds. Yeah. The good thing about what I love about his work is some of the things he finds that look like monolithic blocks. But always, for some reason, and we've seen this, and I actually highlighted some of his work, so you guys can check out his videos, where you see these like square, rectangular stuff, and there's always like rocks, and that's not unusual to see, but there's like there might be like a boulder in this corner, a boulder in this corner on top of this rectangular or square structure. Then there was one that had like 6 or 8 of them, like square, almost like a square chimney in a row, and they had shadows on them. Okay, wait a minute. Why is all of these things just happen to have a boulder on them? That doesn't mean nature could not do that, of course. We know that. But when you see this thing, wait a minute. At some point, when you see these square things and they look like little chimneys sticking out, is that all natural as well? Especially it's in a line? I don't know. I don't think that's natural, right? Dave Havery, what's going on? Good to see you there, man. He said, hi, anybody into Mars X3D? Yeah, like I said, Dave Gannett is a good friend of mine. Met him personally down in Alabama during the Mars conference. And, yeah, he does phenomenal work. I mean, if you can train your eyes, like he said, to do Mars 3D, it's like the old photos where you used to see that sailboat and those patterns. It's kind of similar to that, but just kind of focus both your eyes in one area and basically becomes in depth. Really, really good work. So if you guys haven't checked him out, it's Mars X3D. have a look at that channel. He does phenomenal work there. Just awesome. Mimi, you said we once had the knowledge but lost it or was taken from us. Or like I said, Mimi, it could have been because, like I said, these catastrophic events, not too many people could carry on what they knew back then because it depends on who survived it, right? If it was people in areas of the world that weren't very technologically advanced, maybe they were still way behind, then they wouldn't know this technology and it all just died off, rotted into the ground. We're talking about thousands of years now in between. Or at least good hundreds and hundreds of years because the population would have to grow again. And of course, we have to come up with all this technology again. And every time we did, we got more technologically advanced. Or did we? Again, we don't know. Clerks 93 said, they don't want us to have alien tech because then we'd leave Earth and the government would lose money. Yeah, as funny as that sounds, it could very well be, right? But if we had alien tech, think about it. How many jobs would be lost? Because in other words, let's say they had a power system that it was so small you could put it it's like the size of a car battery, the technology, and it would literally run your house and it runs indefinite. In other words, it never dies. Well, there goes every power station, all the jobs, everything else. But look at the benefit to it. Less coal burning, nuclear power burning, the waste that comes out of these nuclear power plants. Look at the lives it would save, the life that it's killing in some of these oceans and some of these ponds and stuff like that. And we would be dependent on it. We would actually better ourselves. Now, did they find such a technology? Who knows? Because we've seen what they've found on the moon. We've seen stuff on the moon that's definitely not natural. I mean, you can see it look like I said, dilapidated spacecraft. They look like they're on their side or tilted on their side. Looks like structures strung all over the place. Yeah. And like I said, if you guys haven't checked out my latest lunar video, go to Lunar Anomalies and beyond. But because I didn't make one here on Mars Anomalies, so like I said, some of these guys, how come you didn't make anything on no videos this week? I did. It's on Lunar Anomalies. I haven't made one in a while. Figured I need to get one on there too. Really, really cool stuff. Just more stuff that's unnatural. Let me see you guys going back and forth here. Let me see. David Clark, he said, the timing of when life was on Mars is a real mystery. Some say thousands of years ago. Some say hundreds of millions of years ago. Well, it's kind of like us. How long have we been on this planet, right? So we can go back to Mars, and it probably had maybe hundreds, maybe thousands of years lifespan on that planet. And that would be accurate. When did it end? That's the key we got to ask. So I believe we had life up to that point, 1941. And as crazy as that sounds, you go, no, why would they? I don't know. I don't agree with that. Well, again, if those explosions are in fact true, and I believe that they are, because I don't know if it was the Maven spacecraft or the MRO went into low orbit into the atmosphere, and they could sniff it out. And I believe even the Curiosity rover got like it was out in the fringe area of it because it's way down south of the Cydonia region where we had the ancient face and stuff like that. And that's where that all took place, the Cydonia region. Large explosion there, and then one east of that. Something chaos was the name of it. But there was a smaller one east of that area, of the face of Cydonia. It was east of that. Large one, small one. Okay. Just happened to be there, next to the face of it. Yeah. So, funny enough, all of these landers and rovers are all just south of that area. Imagine that. And so, why is it on the other side of the planet? It just happened to be, and I didn't put this together until I learned about the nuclear explosions on Mars. I went, wait a minute, where are these crafts and these landers at? Meaning the landers and the rovers. They're all south of it. They're all south of the Cydonia region, right where these explosions happen. Is it coincidence? I don't think so. All right, let's see. I hope I didn't miss anybody. I'm trying to go right down here, go to the bottom here. Elaine Maloney said, where do I find this Mars 3D stuff? That's the name of it, Mars X 3D channel. So in other words, you put up in the search bar, you'll find it. And like I said, my buddy David Gannett that's his channel. Really laid back kind of guy. Does show some really awesome stuff. Good commentary. Just check his workout. In fact, I may be able to find that for you if anybody's interested in looking at that. Let me see here. All right. Oh, Mars X 3D? The evidence. Really does a fine job of it. He usually will take his own work, but then he also finds a lot of... I'm going to drop it right here, guys, if you're interested. I'm going to drop it right down right now and drop the link. See if it'll go. There you go. There's a link right there. And Lee Herring said, yeah, Mars X3D is a very cool channel. No BS, no bull, just substance you can easily see. And that's the whole idea. You know, you want to see this stuff. Oh, you know, he'll do it from other researchers as well. People who are combing these photos and checking these things out. And that's what it's all about. Again, he does great work. Down-to-earth guy. If you haven't subbed him, go sub him. He's awesome. They just jumped at me. David P., what's going on, man? Good to see you in there. He said, howdy from Texas, Chris. What's going on down in the old Texas state? Hope you're doing well. James Cragen, you said, Chris, let's not forget the huge amount of names and symbols with similarities to ancient Egyptian gods and star people that NASA have named their missions and shuttles and plenty more connections, etc. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, just cool stuff. Let me see. I think this thing might have jumped in. I'm not sure. Well, there are, Mimi. You said, Chris, I believe there is already another lander very close to the Cydonia region. There are. See, that's the thing. Just look it up. Just put locations of landers and rovers on Mars, and they'll come up with a map, and they'll show you. And like I said, you'll see it. It's like just down and around. You can see it like around that area of Cydonia. Why do you suppose that is? If they were right smack dab, and we're going to use the term ground zero, if they were there, nothing would be alive. In other words, I don't care if there was trees or any kind of plant growth, anything. It wouldn't be alive. Let's back off. Let's go down south and east and west of the area and check it out. And this is where you're most likely to find things on the fringe area where there might be something that is alive. It's the reason why they didn't land over there. But yet, you look around here, they're down south, man. It's crazy. Mr. Seven Digits said could be our nukes being sent up there, or even possibly some of their old nuclear technology finally melting down after some time due to a radiation storm or something else. You know, I actually said that, and of course it's more kind of morbid thought, but I said, what if we were to go down there, because we already had, you know, orbiters and stuff like that, right? And we had the MRO there long before we had any land. I'm sorry, well, rovers. But we did have the Viking back in 75 and 76. Now, is it possible that they saw, back then even, maybe the little people claim to see, what kind of a threat would they be to us? And maybe they had technology that was far, ahead of us, and they were just smaller people. And I don't mean that this big, but let's say they were half the size of us, an average person, right? What kind of threat would they? Let's say they didn't have any weaponry. Like I said, we can send a couple of nuclear warheads there. Maybe have one that's got like a concoction of every germ that's possibly on Earth, so we'll kill them that way. Plus the nuclear blast, the radiation, everything else. Just throw a couple, just napalm them and see what happens. And pretty much killed off the planet. How do we know? And that is pure speculation because we don't know. But it's not like we haven't done that here on Earth and took over different countries, right? So what if you wanted to take that technology for yourself and say, well, these people are no threat to us. Let's just go ahead and, carpet bomb them, or we'll do whatever we got to do to them, and we'll take the planet ourselves. I'm not saying that's what happened, and I hate to believe that would happen. But judging from our track record here on Earth, going way back even, that's not in the realm of possibilities. But I don't think that's the case. It might have been something they'd done to themselves, or something outside, killed them off. But it doesn't matter how you look at it. If it happened on that date, these large explosions, then again, there was life at that point. So maybe this is the reason why they're having a problem finding life, because it's still fresh there, meaning the nuclear, and it killed pretty much everything off. So at the very least, though, they should be able to find at least, fossilized, or something they can still see it in the soil that there was microbial life. We'll see. That'll be interesting. Turklerin, what's going on? Vadishi, what's happening? He said, hi, everyone, and Chris. Good to see you in there, Turklerin. I don't think I caught you the last few times, but good to see you in there. Noodles, you said the sea level has risen many hundreds of feet, so even Antarctica could have civilizations lost on the continental shelves. Oh, there's no doubt in my mind there was. Again, it was a lush continent, just like they say it was just like the Amazon jungle at one point. So there was definitely plant life there. We know there was organics, right? And there was oceans and everything else, and there still are. There's still these bodies of water there. But, so it's not out of the realm to believe that was the case. Man was there too. Now, just how far back? Well, if you go by Sarah's thesis, we know there was actually structures there. We broke down photos there showing stuff that's actually there. And there's structures. It's not like lean-tos or teepees. These things were huge, and they're good-sized constructed structures. So, again, was it from our civilization or was it from somebody else? And even Sarah says in her own thesis that we are not the first ones to be on this planet. And I agree with her. Let me jump down to the bottom here. Jeffrey Legans, what's going on? I think that's how you pronounce your last name. Good to see you there, Jeffrey. I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, she did, Julia. Yep. He said Sarah found a body. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Wow. Some of the things you see, and at first you just go, you look at, even you, Julia, you had to look at these photos and go, well, they look like mountains. They don't look like anything really spectacular until you really, really look at these photos. And again, and I don't remember his last name, because it was Sergeant something or other. When you see in her thesis, it says his name, and of course she was affiliated with him, was a friend, and it says works for NASA as well. Well, they're going to do their best they can to doctrine up these photos before they're released. So when you break these things down, even Sarah seen it, you can see like on one of these mountains, she said the structure's right here. And then, of course, she put on there, what'd she put? And you said, oh, that sounds just like Sarah. Oh, God, I forgot what it was now. But she had an arrow pointing there, and she's looking at it. And she couldn't have been more right. When you break these photos down, you can just see that they're not mountains at all. They kind of dressed them up to look like mountains. And they do the same thing. They did the same thing on the moon. They did the same thing on Mars. Why would they change it if it was something here on Earth that they didn't want you to see? They would do the same darn thing. I wish he was around to see these things because it was just absolutely crazy, the amount of stuff that's in there. Lee Herring said, Mars, some pics look like there are plants and trees growing. Yes, totally agree. In fact, we had that one photo. Remember, it was on a mountainside. It had like this big, it looked like a weed type thing growing right out of the ground. People going, oh, it's a crack in the ground. No, it actually had a little bit of a shadow. So it looked like organic life. Exactly, Mimi. You said, think about the tardigrades, or water bears. They can survive under the hardest or harshest conditions. They did that. The people from China sent them there. They sent those, the little, we'll call them water bears. They sent them like a bunch of little plants in like this little, I don't know if it was a dome type thing, but anyway, it had like a bunch of these little tubes of different plants, and they had those. So, but what happened is those broke open. And they said, so these things are basically on the moon now. But I almost can guarantee they can probably live on there too. Now, they say a lot of plants, and I forget which one it was, it still survived for a while longer than the others, and then, of course, they died because of the radiation. But was it from the radiation, or was it from the heat? Because think about it. If they're in a glass tube, and it gets extremely hot on the moon when the sun's there, that's probably what killed it off. It may not have been the radiation at all. It might have been the heat. Put yourself in a greenhouse, even here on Earth, a good greenhouse, it's going to get extremely hot in there. And I'll close it off, and then picture no atmosphere to even block it, and you're out on the surface of the moon. When it's in the dark, that area's in the dark, it's extremely cold. Get in the sun, there's nothing to filter any of it out. So if they're in small glass tubes, that's why they got killed off. It got too darn hot, and probably the radiation too. But there are actually water bears on the moon now. So, yeah. Alien Hunter says, we can't make that giant stuff. I guess you were saying they can't make it out, but still, to this day, I agree, amazing. We just, again, we are a civilization that's just finding out about ourselves now. And, of course, the public's way behind in that. But they already know they're way ahead of us as far as the military, the DOD, the people that actually own this planet. They're well, and they know exactly what's going on. And we are part of something much bigger, and we go back way, way back, and probably way, way out. And that's the key. That's why I said, guys, that like the movie Prometheus, it's a good movie. Some people are like, oh, it sucked. No, it's actually a good movie. If you're into ancient civilizations as well as anything space, you enjoyed it. Now, you could say, well, it had holes in it, meaning you didn't think it was accurate, but it doesn't matter, right? Still a very interesting movie. We're trying to find our origins. That's basically what it comes down to. Oh, absolutely, Julia. You just said the NASA commander agreed with her. I forget his name. You're the same way I am. I drew a blank on his name. It's not like I sit there and study his name all the time, so you're probably the same way like I am. But he said he fed her a lot of data he shouldn't have. There was recent life on Mars. I almost guarantee it. And I can actually back that because it's just what we're seeing in these photos. And again, it's a giant puzzle, right? Nuclear explosion, 1941. We're still seeing remnants of different parts of it. And, of course, 99% of it's being hidden from the public. Unless, of course, you really peruse over these things really slow and actually look at these pieces that are sticking out of these rocks and these different areas and these buttes. I don't think they're buttes at all unless they built into them, again, to protect themselves from either enemies, solar radiation, depending on what part of Mars that they live on, so on and so forth. You could still live in a cave and still be technologically advanced. Think about that. You're just very smart. If you think about it, we don't live in a cave, but we still, make things out of mortar, brick, steel. So we could still bury ourselves, like some of these military bases, into an actual mountain. Of course, that's for military, security and stuff like that, But still, why couldn't you? And still be technologically advanced. Elaine Millard, you said maybe NASA historians do not wish to admit to there being structures because it was Neanderthals and Denisovians, Soviet, and not us. And to them, that's too much to take. They can't admit to it and not being us. And that could very well be. Maybe they're just going, First of all, they don't want... Think about this. Again, we're going to open up a whole new can of worms. If we were the military and say, okay, listen, we found some structures on Antarctica. Everybody would be like, oh, wow, okay, that's nothing new. We found them everywhere in the United, I was going to say the United States, but in the world. We found some in the United States, too. The Mayans, Egyptians, Toltecs, all these different people. When you think about it, it's like, okay, we know that, so it wouldn't surprise us. Well, wait a minute. We forgot to tell you, the structures are like hundreds of thousands of years old. Oh, what? That's where it becomes bizarre. How do they get out of that? You can't. Because even if you can't show the structures, clearly, because they would have done this. Think about it. If it was just, they just said, well, there was structures here at one time, guy. We got proof of this now. Pre-Ice Age, or pre-Ice Shield, if you will. We actually have structures and we can actually show you that. Why don't they just show it to you? It's not a big deal. We're doing this all the time in the jungles in the Amazon and everything else, all these structures and stuff. So why would this be a secret? There's a reason for it. And the reason is it's something much more technologically advanced and older. How do you answer that? You can't. Mr. Seven Digits says the real Jimmy Roberts had some very interesting photos taken on a coastline, clearly showing what looks like crustacean-like creatures and not fossilized either. Yeah, I mean, Jimmy does great work too, guys. He it's like a lot of people, they may not agree with some of our findings, and I always leave it up to you guys anyway. I always say you guys get the last word, and I mean that. I say, listen, this is what it looks like to me. Looks like. I'm not saying it is. It looks like to me this is what this is. Now, if I have stronger proof, meaning something that looks like a structure, I'm going to say that absolutely looks like a structure. Of course, you guys get the last word. So, and that's what it's really all about. Let's find this stuff together, analyze it, come up with your own conclusions. Simple as that. Oops. I hate it when this thing jumps. I was just ready to read somebody's and it just jumped on me. Divine Catalin, what's going on? Good to see you in there. As I'm trying to go back up here. Dave Haver, you said, Chris, you think Trump may spill the beans on alien existence before he gets kicked out of the White House or as last act of defiance? That'd be nice. I'd love to see it. Of course, we're going to see what's going to happen between now and 180 days. Well, I hope it was 180 degrees. That'd be really hot. But anyway, but to me, I mean, if he wanted to be defiant, I guess he could, right? But if nothing happens, we'll see what transpires between February, any kind of photos we get. Of course, it'll add to our arsenal as far as what we're seeing on there, what they're going to allow us to see. And I'm going to try to actually do that live here as well. Now, you can see it on the NASA page and NASA YouTube channel as far as the lander with Perseverance. And I'm going to try to do that live here as well, just to have it on there. And I want to just see, just for the heck of it, what they show. But I'd love to see him get all defined and say, oh, I've had it. Let's spill the beans. That would be cool. Tell him, go on his, you can't go on his Twitter page. Go on his Twitter page and say, yeah, man, let it out. Divine Catalan, you said, I do have a question for you, Chris. Have you seen the lady named Gina doing videos of ETs and ships around the sun and in our clouds? Somehow this gal showed up in my feed. I find it interesting. I seen that myself, and she showed what looked like, I don't know how many, numerous amounts of crafts. You can see the sun, and of course you can see these things. I don't know how she found that, but yes, some crazy things in there. And she seems down to earth. She doesn't seem like somebody's trying to fake these things. Really, really interesting stuff. Yeah, I seen that. I know exactly what you're talking about. I think the sun was to the left, and you can see all these crafts like to the right. And Christ, there had to have been 50 to 100 of them at least, if not a whole lot more. And then she's found things, like you said, in the clouds and stuff. The only thing I have a problem with as far as like in the clouds, like you see the sun close it. Is it a sun flare? Is it an actual UFO? Because you know how some of those can work, right? People say, oh, there's an orb right there. It's a lens flare, sun flare, depending on how you look at it, right? So, yeah, I mean, but I seen that a while back, and she seems like she does some pretty good work. I don't remember the name of her station, but channel. But I remember her name is Gina. I just don't recall the channel name. But it was very interesting, to say the least. Of course, everybody jumped on her and, oh, that's not true, blah, blah. It's right there. I mean, how do you not see that? Charlene, you said the moon is filled with objects, especially in craters. I think there's a spiritual war going on up there. Like I said, to me, we're seeing things in craters. We're seeing things outside of craters. Some of these photos, it looks like a flat area. And then after you really try to bring out that area, this thing's actually standing up. I've done a video where you see like all of these craters and what look like hillsides and, like lunar mountains and stuff. And then you see this completely flat area. And guess what? It looks blurry. You start to actually use a burn tool, you start to see things that are actually tall standing up in them areas. Imagine that. Coincidence? I don't think so. Flat area, looks like it's been kind of manipulated and been blocked out, and all of a sudden you see these things. Once you start to burn, you can actually see like shapes of things standing up in that area. No, they've been lying about the photos since the LRO, the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, and of course LROC, which is the camera on board that. So since that thing's been orbiting, they've been taking thousands. It says it. It's been taking thousands and thousands of photos. It's probably taking a picture of every inch of the moon. So they know it's there. So, hence the reason why, we went to the moon. They seen things there clearly didn't belong there, and that's why they went. Well, it depends on who's here first there, Turklerin. You said we own this planet, not they. They are only tourists. Well, I don't know if you're talking about the actual, owners of this planet, but which is basically our elites in our military. So, it's almost like if you were an alien and you came here and this planet was just, you happen to come here and you say, oh, well, look, there's life that's existing there now. They'd probably said, well, they're basically just on the planet. Do they actually own the planet? Or they're just residing on it? So, if they really wanted to, I'm sure they could wipe us clean off this planet. Think about it, right? That'd be a scary thought. Let's see. Robert Morgan, what's going on? You said the military is 60 years ahead of what hardware you can see. Well, here's the thing, too. I've heard much further than that. Because, think about it. It's like our technology jumps by leaps and bounds. And if you're military, you got these people making up this, better in our technology, coming up new technologies, always furthering the boundaries, right? So you can bet they're like farther than that. You can bet they're at least 100 years ahead of us. So you can imagine the technology they have, and it wouldn't surprise me. Charlene, you said, I think there are all kinds of bad entities right under our feet. They are waking up. I don't know. I mean, I think of it differently. Almost like, what if there were civilizations underground before on top of the ground? Think about that. I mean, is it possible that some of us moved above ground? Right? Just like if you watch the newest, and when I say newest compared to the original, the Time Machine. We had the Warlocks, or they had those, what do they call those? You guys would know off the top of your head. It was not, were they Warlocks? But anyway, you had the people that lived underground that fed on the people that were above ground. So they had this coexisting thing. We don't see that kind of thing happening on our planet, so maybe they were there before us. Or maybe they put people out here to see how we would actually survive. We don't know. Or they've been here all this time, and then we just evolved or came here, and we don't even know they're there, unless, of course, the elites know that they're here, right? And the UFOs we're actually seeing are right here from our own planet. Or it's our own technologies, right? interesting. It'd be cool to see. Thank you again, Julia. Much love to you. Thank you for your support. You said good night, everyone. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. You too, Julia. Thank you for being here. And again, for all your support. You're awesome. And, just stay in touch with the site and everything else. I'll be happy to help any way I can. And like I said, I think you asked for a couple things as far as banners and stuff. So we'll get that to you as well. But have a good weekend there and be safe there, right? Because we know all this craziness going on. So just be safe. And again, thank you for your support. Mr. 7 Digit, you said, and then you have other events that correlate to these freshwater fish and rivers in the mid-Atlantic that support first appearance of Homo sapien. Well, that's true. Now, I don't know how many times you guys have seen this, where we have these evolution charts and things like that, but they say, how come we never found the missing link? Now, a lot of these scientists, where they go, we don't know how this jump came about. In other words, we have, it's like a huge jump in evolution with our minds, our brains itself. And they say they're constantly expanding. And some people say, well, we're kind of de-evolution. We're actually going backwards. I don't see that. I think we're going forward as far as technologically, but we're not depending on our own brains anymore. We're letting technology do the work for us. So we have smart devices and we're becoming dumb. So I don't know how that's going to work out in the future. But to me, it can only make you smarter. Because, like I said, it'd be like what was the movie I was referring to last time? The Matrix, where if you have this, like, computer, like, they want to have you, like, computer built into your head, where you can just think about something, like, okay, Google, and you just blink your eyes. Kind of like the Matrix, where I need to learn how to fly this helicopter. Okay, we're there. And you can jump in the Jolly Green helicopter and just fly it off. But it's like, just at the top of your head, you already know this. So, I think the future's going to be cool, but I'd love to know how that's going to work out eventually. In other words, what we go through. But military's well ahead of us. The technology they're putting together, and it gets watered down. If they find something that can be useful and for the public, they'll pass that along. But they're far more advanced than us. And I don't think it's because there's so much aliens, but because we constantly push the boundaries. And because, when did they have... was it the 50s or 60s, Salt Plains of Utah, where they broke the actual, the sound barrier with the blue flame? You guys remember that back in the day? They had the blue flame. It broke 600 plus miles an hour. And that goes back then. Just the technology, guys. We're so far ahead, it's not even funny. All right, what else do we got here? I don't know if you guys have seen this either. I don't know why this is doing this, but yeah, let's do that. India test anti-satellite weapon. The Indian government announced on May 27th it successfully fired a ground-based anti-satellite weapon against a satellite in low Earth orbit, a test that is likely to heighten concerns about space security and orbital debris. Excuse me. Indian Prime Minister Narendra, Modi, I think it is, said that the country's military successfully demonstrated an anti-satellite, or ASAT, weapon in the test known as Mission Shakti. In that test, a ground-based missile, a version of an existing ballistic missile interceptor, hit a satellite at an altitude of about 300 kilometers. Now, I find it really interesting because most of these satellites, if they're anything like the International Space Station, is flying 17,500 miles per hour. And most of these are smaller sats. If I'm not mistaken, it says they're actually like a... let me see if I can see where that showed that. Or reads that. It shows the remarkable dexterity of India's outstanding scientists and the success of our space program, Modi said in a series of tweets announcing the test. Also made a televised announcement in Hindi about the test. I'm almost... The missile struck an unidentified Indian satellite. So they must have been probably thinking it was ready to decay and fall to Earth. Anyway, the test was fully successful and achieved all parameters as per plans. There's a Microsat R, launched in January, or Microsat TD, launched a year earlier. Microsat R is in a 262 by 280 kilometer orbit, while Microsat TD is in a 353 by 361 kilometer orbit, according to the tracking data. But still, again, these satellites are not very big to begin with, and they're moving at such a speed, so that's a really good feat to be able to do that. That's insane. So, yeah. Cameron Davis, how are you? He said, Chris, how are you? I'm doing well. Cameron, hope you're doing well. Good to see you in there. Turkland, yes. Blue Flame, October 23, 1970. Yeah. So, and we were doing that, and it's just simple stuff, right? Breaking the speed limit. Or sound barrier, I should say. So, breaking the speed limit. I do that every day. No, I'm kidding. But the funny thing about it is, it's like we're always pushing the envelope. Always. It's kind of like yourself. Like I said, if you don't go out and buy anything for yourself, it's like me. I pretty much got everything I need. I don't, you know what I mean? I'm a simple man. I don't need a whole lot. But I always tried to upgrade things that I have. In fact, I was actually I don't know if I still got those. I was just looking at them before I went on live. Yeah, like I was saying about, you guys should be prepared in case anything craziness goes on between the 16th and the 20th coming up with all of the uncivil rest, so to speak. People were saying, oh, yeah. A couple of friends of mine were saying, what did they say? Something about, like, they bought, like, the solar batteries, like the little ones. In fact, I got one laying around somewhere, but the thing was junk. It's about that big. It's got a little solar panel on it, and it charges the battery. And I'm like, that's a great idea. But I was looking at the thing, I said, okay, that's great, and it works well. Let's say it's fully charged, your power goes out. Okay. You're only going to get one charge out of the thing if you got like a good size, like a new iPhone, an iPad, or whatever it may be, for communications or whatever, right? So once you deplete it, you have to put it back out in the sun in order to charge it. I had built like a little piece. I had like on a piece. I'll show you the picture in a minute. I had a piece of wood I put together a while back, and it was a little solar panel. You can put on those. I think it come off one of those. Outside motion detector lights. It was a low-powered light. The light itself was garbage, so I took the solar panel. I put it on, mounted on a piece of wood, and I got one of these little modules you can buy. You can put it underneath your dash. 12 volts in. It's got like two 5-volt outputs, and of course, you've got your regular accessory. Let me show it to you here. And what I do is I disconnected it, and I put, whoops. Let me see here. Go back to it. I got rid of it. Hold on. I don't know what my computer's doing here. It's going stupid here. Yeah, right here. Now what I'll do is I'll minimize it for a second. Bring these other pages back up. Okay. So I've got this here. And just like I said, I disconnected this one here. That's that solar panel. It's just facing the other direction. But you got two little USBs, and of course, you got your accessory socket, 12 volts, and I can just turn the thing on and off. But I disconnected it, and I've got another one, a bigger one. This is just a motor controller because the solar panel itself is 20 volts coming out. So I wanted to turn it down, keep your amperage, drop your voltage, and the other one, the solar panel, just sticks in the window. It's a 10-watt solar panel, 20 volts, and it charges up my iPhone, not even trying. I mean, I could be playing music on everything. It charges it with no problem at all. So, which is cool because there's no batteries involved. Literally, as long as the sun's out, I can charge anything I want to, and it's good to go. So it's good as a backup, So yeah, I was kind of fighting around with those, and I don't know how many of you guys out here. Not that this has got anything to do with space and everything, but how many of you guys here are audiophiles? I went out and bought a pair of these RB42s. I don't know if they're little speakers. I don't know if you guys have heard of them, but there's a guy that does, his name's Z Reviews, he goes by, and he does all kinds of, anything high-end audio or anything like that. But anyway, they're micro speakers, MICCA. Really, really cool little speakers. And So this is like basically on the desktop, on my bureau, rather, the dresser. I'd love to know why the computer does it. Click it and it goes off and it comes back on. But anyway, those are cool. I mean, I bought it to upgrade. These I've got my hybrid amp in the middle there with the tube preamp and a digital amplifier. The sound that comes out of these things are insane. Just picture a much larger speaker, but these are only 4-inch long throw woofers in there, and the sound that comes out of them is phenomenal. If you guys are in the market for like a small speaker but don't want to have, you don't have a whole lot of room, these are awesome. And this, I think, is, I had this with the grills off. These things are really good, and they give you these, isolation foam pads, so you're not having, the bases and being, delivered through the actual wood. So really, really cool. Again, not that matters because it's got nothing to do with space, but I just figured I'd let you guys know. Just cool. Alien Hunter taking off. Somebody just said goodnight. I need my beauty sleep. So good night, all in the chat, and Godspeed, Chris. Been a great night. Alien Hunter, you and your wife have a good one there. Let me know if you need anything. Just contact me. You know how to do that. And you have yourself a good night. Be safe, and we'll talk to you soon, right? Bush Corey, what's going on? I didn't see you slide in there. You must have just got jumped in there. Good to see you in there. Anita M., there's no way that Trump or any other government official will move towards disclosure, in my opinion. The status quo offers them too much control this way, money and religion. Well, that's true. And I don't believe it's all going to be just let out at once either. If it's going to be any kind of information, it'll be something about maybe more Pentagon files or something like that. I don't think it's going to be of anything like, oh my God, it's going to really blow our hair back. I mean, I don't know what you guys' opinion about that. You could drop that down there. I just don't think it's going to be like mind-blowing stuff. Although I'd love to see anything additional is good, right? So to me, it's even if it's very small steps, it's working towards, disclosure. As far as I'm concerned, any small step is better than none, right? But to believe we're just going to find, we're going to get full disclosure, no, I don't believe that's going to happen. 2020 tied for the warmest year on record, NASA analysis shows. Yeah, so they were talking about this, and I think it was from, what was it? It's tied with 2016 as the warmest year on record, according to analysis by NASA. But here's the funny part. We all know that the sun goes through an 11-year cycle. And the only reason why I knew that years ago, because when I started into radio, talking on CBs and skip shooting and everything else all over the world, I learned that quickly because if it's at the height of a, solar cycle, you could talk everywhere. Talking to UK, South Africa, I've talked everywhere. I probably talked to close to Jean Ward's neighbors down there. I've talked everywhere, New Zealand, Australia. And when it's at the height of this, you really, the atmosphere opens up and the atmosphere really, really is pristine for that kind of thing. So, but the way they're showing here, it's only 2016 and 20, it took 4 years difference. So, but if you go back, it says, continue the planet's long-term warming trend. The year's globally average temperature was 1.8 or 84, so a little over 1 3/4 degrees Fahrenheit, 1.0 degrees Celsius, warmer than the baseline 1951 to 1980 mean, according to scientists at NASA's Goddard Institute of Space Studies, or GISS, in New York. All right, so 2020 edged out 2016 by a very small amount within a margin of error of the analysis, making the year's effectively tied for the warmest year on record. Now, we know, I think it's just starting the actual 11-year cycle. You guys can, if you guys know if I'm right or not, just let me know. But if it's just starting into it, I think it's just going into one now. So it's not likely to, as it goes through the cycle, it warms up the whole solar system, guys. It's not just the Earth. It warms up the whole darn solar system. So if we were near the peak or near halfway through this cycle, 11-year cycle, like 5-6 years into it, every planet in the solar system would be warming up. It's not just Earth. Now, if we do have it, we would add it to our footprint here on the planet, then we're accelerating it. Now, some people don't believe it's true, but it's there, man. It's, we're getting crazy weather going on, It's just playing havoc with everything. So, there's 50-50 people on the scale on both sides of that. You know how that goes. NASA government of Japan formalized gateway partnership with Artemis program. Now, basically, they're going to make a little space station type thing so they can actually they can get back and forth to the moon, and of course they can have either supplies or whatever. NASA and the government of Japan have finalized an agreement for the Lunar Gateway, an orbiting outpost that commercial and international partners will build together. This agreement strengthens the broad effect by the United States to engage international partners in sustainable lunar exploration as part of the Artemis program and to demonstrate the technologies needed for human missions to Mars. See, they want to use that obviously as a stepping stone, right? They want to go from Earth, Moon. If they have a base there, they can just take off from there. It's much easier because, if you already bring fuel there, it's just there. And you can take off from the moon. It's so much easier. But if you really think about it, you got to get that craft that's delivering the fuel there. But if they actually do the break down any water or anything like that on the moon, they make fuel. They can do it right there. Much more sustainable as far as fuel-wise. And they can just take off right from the moon. How difficult would that be to do compared to Earth? It's breaking away from the actual gravity that's the issue here, and that's how we have so much fuel expenditure. So it's much easier just to take off from the moon, provided you set up a base there, so on and so forth. So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see. But you can see Northrop Grumman's in on this. Under an arrangement with Northrop, Japan will also provide batteries for the Gateway's Habitation and Logistics Outpost, or HALO, the initial crew cabin for astronauts visiting the Gateway. Additionally, Japan is investigating enhancements to its HTV-X cargo resupply spacecraft, which could result in its use of the Gateway logistics resupply. So that's interesting stuff. I like to see people getting together and teaming up to do these things because, again, it's weird how it's exciting, but it's strange at the same time. In other words, it's almost like you just slammed a gas pedal right to the floor and we're just taking off with all of these space missions because maybe they're finding there's much more out there and they want to just find it more and more and quicker and quicker. This is why our space programs are really accelerating. Because if you think about it, there's so much interest in Mars, and of course it's only just dust and dead planet. That's why we all want to be there. And yet we're trying our best. Let's do this. Let's get to Mars. Let's do it. It's rock. Dead. Dust. Why does everybody want to go there again? Maybe somebody can enlighten me. Come on. There's much more there. We all know that. Kerry Griffin, what's going on? It's good to see you in there. He said, look at the Akashic record and how inventions happen at the same time for two or more people. Well, that's true too. VP Vandenberg. AI is already replacing us in a sense. Oh, in a sense. Okay. Yeah, in a sense, you're right. You're absolutely right. It can be used as good. Of course, people fear AI because if it's robotic, of course, it'll be like they're thinking it's going to like take over mankind. I don't think that's the case, but is there a possibility? Sure. I don't think that's the case, but I like that. You remember that old group? Anybody remember Vandenberg, the rock group? Burning Hot. Remember that was popular on the radio? First thing I thought of when I seen your name. I like it. Pretty cool. Vandenberg, or VP and Vandenberg, he said, I think disclosure is already happening slowly through religion like, I'm not sure if you're just pronouncing it right, but Ancient Alien Show. Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, I mean, it just, like I said, if it proves there's aliens out there, then it implies that maybe there's much more than people believe in their religion. Or some don't believe that. They go, well, God made them too then, if he just made all. I have different beliefs, but I don't mock anybody for theirs. But that could very well be. I believe that, again, we were brought here, or we came here at one point, And they might have changed mankind, like the ancient Sumerians talk about. And I believe that could very well be true. And they may be just one race out there compared to X amount. Because again, I mean, they talked about the Hubble, and I said this before, where they showed like a whole swath of, like it was just like a small part of the universe, right? But there was like, you could see like these galaxies and solar systems and stars out there. And it was just incredible to see. And they said, basically, what you're seeing there, and all of that space and all of that I just said, they said that's like a grain of sand on a beach, what you're seeing. And again, but we're the only life out here. Come on. You know, you'd have to be daft to believe that. And I don't believe that for a moment. I think we are, like I said, we're part of something much larger. And that actually makes me feel good inside. I don't know about anybody else, but I think so. Yep, Mimi, I think you're right. He said the future Mars crafts will start from the Lunar Gateway. Well, yeah, they're going to, once they get their base in there, which they probably already do, they're going to just make this look good. Like, yeah, now we're building a base. We're sending things there. Yeah. But yeah, it's basically a portal type thing. So Mars, and this is going to be in between. It's going to be in between, orbiting the moon. And of course, they'll send supplies to it. And then from there down to the surface of the moon. And then, of course, they'll just lift off from there and everything else. And if they're making the fuel right there on the moon, whether it's helium-3, the water, whatever propulsion they make out of this, they just, boom, just manufacture it there, put it in the craft, and off they go. So much cheaper, be so much easier to go back and forth, less energy to do so. Mimi, your question was, but what about the radiation? You're talking about the lunar surface, I presume. Well, I mean, everything would have to be shielded somehow. And I think a lot of it's going to be, like you see a lot of these spacecraft are shielded with like a gold, like Kevlar or some kind of like, I don't know, it's like a gold thin sheet. And it obviously had to be insulated towards it, right? You have to, insulate everything. Unless, of course, they're doing it on the other side of the moon, which is a good possibility. You don't have to worry about any of that because, I mean, at some point you will, because obviously the moon actually turns and rotates around orbits around the moon. I'm sorry, the Earth, and then, of course, the Earth is moving around. So it does get sun as well on the other side. But I think they basically think it's just, insulate, and that's pretty much it. Smart Steve 68 said wreaking havoc. I'm not sure what you're saying on that, but I mean, yeah. Good to see you there, Smart. That's a Smart Steve. Okay, Charlene says the poles are shifting. That's wreaking havoc on this planet. Well, a lot of people have said that. They're saying, well, they think it's actually, I mean, obviously we're tilting because we're in different, seasons and stuff. So, we will have a tilt. Now, as far as a total, pole shift, that's a whole different ball game, and I don't know if that's going to quite happen. As far as a complete pole shift, it's happened in the past, so that's not out of the question. But I mean, right now, obviously, we turned on our axis. This is the reason why we got our, we're in the wintertime, some people are in the summer. But yeah, so we'll see. I mean, of course, I don't think a lot of us will be around when that happens, but. I don't think any of us who are here right now will happen before it does an actual pole shift itself, meaning it reverses the actual poles. We'll see. Mr. George Mayer, what's going on? He said, hi, Chris, and I'm all sorry. I'm sorry. He said, hi, Chris, and all sorry I'm late. Good to see you there, George. Don't worry about it. We're just going over a few things. We had some pages on here, and now we're going to jump on to our Gigapan. So, and of course, we'll stop in between. We'll see what everybody's saying here and what they're seeing. So let me get rid of my face here so we can see the whole pan. this is the one we have. I think we've done this before, which is a really interesting pan. Now, this is done by Neville Thompson, my good friend. He does an awesome job on these. September 1st, 2017, this was actually uploaded. And of course, you can see right there, it says Galleries MSL PDS images. PDS images are the best ones to get. That doesn't mean that they're not manipulated. So, these are from Maury Buttes, of course. The Buttes, yeah. Let's let her center. But I mean, I'm just looking at this right here, and you can already see this weird line in here, and it just happens to go like on the whole faces. Now, you have to assume, because it looks like it's all rounded at the end, right? So if you, in other words, if you were flying up and over this thing, you'd see like an oval, and this line, it looks like it's just going like the whole face of this, like surrounding the whole face. Now, I get like dirt, and, well, I don't know how dirt can come off the top of a mountain, but like in other words, let's say there was dirt at the top. I guess you can have dust fall, but to have that much of it is kind of weird. But have stones and stuff like that, of course, they're going to break off over time. But, yeah, these are not just, I don't believe, and I won't believe that these are just simple, rocks and stuff like that, or buttes of that sort. Now, you know I've done this, because here's a perfect example. There's a plate right here, and there is, in fact, a straight edge here. I'm gonna put it right in the middle of the page. Anything I show, I'll put it right in the middle of the page, because, like I said, no word of a lie, guys, $50 is the size of the actual arrow on my screen, but yet you look on what I'm showing you guys is very small. So anything I'm going to try to put on there, I'm going to put right in the middle of the screen so you can get an idea what I'm talking about, okay? But just this alone, right underneath this rock, there's an actual edge on the right-hand side of this square. That doesn't look too natural to me. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, really interesting. Sabre, a reptile, what's going on? Good to see you. And he said, howdy, Chris. How's everyone doing? I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well as well. Let me see. Slick 902 is in there too. Good evening, Chris. I am a little late. Hello all. Hope all is good. I am good. Slick 902. I hope you're doing well. We're just jumping into this here. I said Bush Corey's in there. Good to see everybody in there. Andy Hughes is in there. He said, hello, Chris. Just a quick hello before I go to bed. It's going midnight here. All right, man. Appreciate you being here, Andy. Be safe, and we'll talk to you soon there, right? Okay, so we've got this right here. And to me, when I actually did this here, we actually seen there is an edge to this. But look at the blurring on this, guys. Look at this right here. You got that square, and just below it down over here, we got, literally, you can see a line of blurring right here. And I'm just bringing it a little bit closer. Right there, you got a line of blurring. It's all over this photo, guys. It's crazy just how much crap. Look at this. And now, what he's done, just to be clear, is that when Neville does this, he'll try to take a lot of the shadow out so that we can see this stuff, right? So you're going to see where they actually blurred even more so. Look at this. Pieces sticking out. Now, let's look at this in a natural way. In other words, this is not anything technology. What could that possibly be? Is it possible it's a pointy part of this layered rock? Absolutely. It doesn't look like that, but that doesn't mean it isn't. What do you guys think that is? Travis, good question. You said, wouldn't you be terrified to be one of the first people on Mars who knows what's going to jump out and get you? Yeah, I mean, you don't know if there's something indigenous on there, right? Yeah. Well, the thing is, they were talking about people who actually went in the jump rooms and went there, and the military's there on Mars and everything else, and they said that the military had to guard the people that were walking around, in other words, scientists and stuff like that. And I wouldn't believe this anyway, but they said that they had to literally like shoot these dinosaurs or these animals that would try to get you. They even had things flying in the sky that would try to eat you and attack you. And I'm going, yeah, it's a little far-fetched for me, guys. I don't know if I believe anything. Anybody else heard that? We've heard this before. I just find it hard to swallow, to be honest with you guys. I don't think that's the truth. Now, this was all in the shade. Look at all of these squares. Here's a perfect example. Look at the blurring and stuff in here. And these artificial compression artifacts, like right here. Here's a perfect example. Look at all the patterns on the side of this, right? Now we're going to back out, and I can still see it. I can still see them. You should not see that in a photo unless you really zoom in to the point where it's so tight you literally see that. But yet you can see it. Now keep in mind, all of this area would have been darker because it was more shadowed. So because you can see the shadowing here. Look at this nice straight arrow. I like this. Comes down. Nice 90-degree angle in the shadow. Another 90-degree right there, and it comes down. See that? Yeah. There's something right here they try to take out right there. Look at the way this thing's standing up. I'll put it right in the middle here. Right there. They put it in the blur. You can see the line of blur right here. And you can see where they went just like this here. Oh, my God. It's like, it looks like artifacts, but they're like blurring tool. Like just click, 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 click. And they put it anywhere they want it to hide something, right? Again, my question is, even if the people who come on here, they say, listen, I'm not a believer of this crap. I think it's absolute garbage. Okay, then just explain one question, or just answer one. Why is it that they feel the need to blur a photo that's on a cold, dead, desolate planet that has no life on it? Shouldn't they be completely raw photos? Nothing hidden? Nothing modified? Nothing censored? I mean, come on. Let me see. Look at this. Kind of this funky block right here. Put it right in the middle. Right there. Look at this. See, it's like there's like old bits and pieces here laying it, but see how they try to blend it with the white, and they just try to really take out the details of these photos by putting everything extremely white and, highly exposed and everything else. It just messes with your eyes so you can't see the detail. And this is what I try to do on my channel. I try to bring out the detail as much as I can. Of course, this is not my work. This is a Gigapan. And you'd have to break it down into smaller pieces and bring it into Photoshop. But here's some good examples. Look at this. Like some of these things right here, you got these long pieces along the ground. What are those? Are they natural? Maybe it's something organic. Maybe it's a tree root. Okay, wait a minute. If, according to NASA, millions of years ago, maybe millions of years, there might have been plant life and everything else on there. Okay. Let's suppose that's true, and these are parts of roots and parts of organics, and maybe they're petrified. That's the only reason why they'd still be there, because if they were normal, just over the years, they'd be gone. There'd be nothing there to see. It'd be dust. And yet, we're not seeing that. We're seeing much more stuff here. So yeah. This is just a line in there. That's no big deal. Look at this right here. Right here, you can see this, what looks like a white square, just barely in there with the blur. And you can see this right down over here. Some straight line, like a nice straight edge. I don't know what's up here either. Another little square with a darker something in the middle. Right there in the middle. Pretty interesting. Just look at some of the stuff. Here's a perfect example. They blurred this out. Or it's part of a mesh or something. But you can see it right here. I'll put it smack dab in the middle of the screen. Right here. See how you can see like this blur right here. And you can see this white piece right there. It's nice and white. But look behind the blur. That white continues on. Comes up and above it. And it goes down here. You can see it going into the other left side of the blur as well. It's a darker manipulation. See that? And you got it super white where they didn't take it all out. But you can see something, whatever this is, it has this straight piece coming down. Looks like they got a blur or it's a netting. And you can see this white piece behind and behind this blur or whatever this is. Yeah. Let's have a look down here, shall we? Look at this. Some other kind of weird, funky looking plate or something like that. Super bright white, of course. See, they do this so you don't see any details that are on top of the rock. Because if that's the case, why isn't every single rock here just like that? They're either censored, like blurred over, or they're extremely white where you can't see anything. Again, look at this. Look at the giant squares. Information taken out, and they do it the way they want. There you go, Dale. It was NASA's Bring Your Child to Work Day. Yeah, because, I mean, they literally crap all over these photos, right? There's something right here. You see, right in the middle of this is almost like a gray square type thing with some kind of almost like a round circle, but there's something coming off of that. But I hope you guys can see that. Let me back up a little bit. You got something right here, like this black square type thing laying right on the ground. Right there. Put it right in the middle of the screen. Right there. Looks like it has some pieces laying on top. And again, guys, look at this black or darker blur right here. And you got these pieces. Funny thing is, you always see what looks like, I'm going to use the term pipes. In other words, you got these skinny pieces that are round, almost looks like a small water pipe or something like that. Always going off, like this white one right here, going into this gray area. And you can see the white going behind this gray manipulation. What is that? What is going on here? So, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Equalizer's taken off. Thank you for your dedication, Chris. Good night, everyone. Thank you, Equalizer. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you being here, brother. Or, I'm going to say, assume man. Forgive me if you're not. But, you know, thanks for being here. I do appreciate you. And we'll talk to you soon there, right? And don't forget to have a good weekend. See, when I see like a field like this, it looks like intelligently made stuff. Now, when you first look at it, you go, those are rocks, man. Come on. But wait a minute. Look at this pointy thing right here. Right? In the middle of the photo. Let's put it a little higher. Right there in the middle. You get this piece right here. Put it in the middle. Look at this design of this piece. That's natural? That's a simple rock? I like that, Charlene. NASA, you're fired. Yeah, William Johnson said these buttes remind me of castles at the top of a hill. I agree. They actually do. David Clark, you asked, is that a pipe sticking out? Yeah, you're going to see a lot of this stuff. Things that just randomly come out of things that randomly go into things. Yeah. That's why I don't believe that what you're seeing is organics, unless, of course, again, they're petrified. And that would make some sense, right? Because you would see that. But even after millions of years, would it not erode it from dirt? And I think we all know the answer to that. Look, it looks like we got something sticking right out of this, right? Look at this, directly in there. It's hard to tell whether it's actually part of that or it's actually sticking out. Because I don't see a shadow of here on the ground. But nevertheless, looks like it's kind of sticking out from the top of this almost like half round piece. See that just above it? It's right there. And it looks like a piece coming straight out of that thing, hanging down. Oh, yeah. The manipulation of these photos are ungodly. Look at this. Oh, yeah. Again, what would be the point? Actually, I can see little details in this bottom rock. See this lighter rock here at the bottom? Look at the little details in here. Let me see if I can go a little closer to this. There we go. That's at 200%. But look at this white rock. Look at the details. This piece coming out, right? Coming out from under the rock. Kind of sticks out. Has this black piece. You can see it kind of goes in like a square. Goes in the back, has a 90-degree angle, goes across. Another 90-degree angle, comes back out, goes across. And there's a black area right in the center of that. Just very little. You can see what looks like little designs in this so-called rock. Is that natural? What do you guys think of that? James Cragen, thanks again, brother. I appreciate your support. You said, Chris, we all have time. We all have what time it is now. It's cloth time for the CGI boys' glasses. That's that. You know what I mean. I know you do. To be honest. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like they're just purposely just modifying these photos, right? We know that, but they just believe that nobody's gonna really take a good close look at these things. And to me, it's ridiculous that they would believe that. However, and I've said this a million times before, how many people do you guys know that, you know, actually know about this stuff. How many people know that? How many people have you guys talked to, family, friends, doesn't matter who it is, and said, and you just, like I said, ask them something random like, wow, did you see the latest Mars photos? They'll look at you stumped. Like, what do you mean? They don't know. And that's what they're hoping. They're hoping that there's a nice dumbed down population that doesn't even give the first look at these things. And if they do, they just kind of, they look at them, next, and they're gone. And that's all there is to it. And that, to me, is an issue. How many times you guys fall into that situation with your family or friends? Oh, yeah. Mimi said, Chris, did you see the squares in the sand? Absolutely. Look at this. I mean, how does anybody look at that and go, look at this right here. This is what you're talking about, right? How does anybody look at it and go, oh, my God, that's so perfectly natural? Oh, my God. That is crap. Complete crap. I see ruins here. I don't see just a mountain. I see ruins. Look at this. It's like they put this here. Oh, okay, we'll just make this, doctor this up. As long as you can't actually see what's there, that's all they care about. Doesn't matter if they, oh, well, that still doesn't look natural. It doesn't matter. As long as you don't see directly what it is, they don't care. Like they did this whole area right here. You can see the line coming down. But look what's behind it. There's something right there that's kind of roundish. Something up here. Look at this crap. Oh, my God. This is hilarious. I love this stuff. But you never know what you're going to find here. That's what really makes it cool and interesting, right? You just never know what you're going to see. Oh, yeah, Travis. Yeah, you said, only on Mars do you get squares in the sand. Yeah, I know. Bizarre, isn't it? That's why you know this stuff is being doctored. I mean, look at this. I mean, listen, we depending on where you live, I live in a mountainous state, right? I see all kinds of rocks. I walk paths in mountains and stuff like that. And I see this stuff, and I don't see this as rocks. I see them as doctored up, broken up pieces of something much different. I don't know how you guys are. I don't know what you're, but that's only my opinion. But that's what I see. Look at this. Like these weird objects laying here. Has like some kind of piece here, has a little black detail right there. And look at this. Look at the shape of this. And of course, it's been detailed in there where they, excuse me, where they've manipulated and censored this out. Right there, right in the middle of the screen. They're standing up right here. Look at this. Looks like something's standing right out of the sand or the side of this hill. It looks like it's got like a flat end on this side facing here. Some kind of weird design in it. Yeah, it doesn't look natural. Oh, yeah, look at the background with all these squares. These are nice. Glad this is all natural terrain. Anthony Bertoretti said, hey, Chris, I love watching your channel. Amazing the things you find. Spot on. Well, I appreciate it, Anthony. I'm glad you're here. Good to see you in there. What's going on there, Frack? Frack Centuri says debris field. That's what I see. I don't see... Now, I'm not saying there can't be rocks here. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that I don't believe everything we're seeing here is, in fact, just rocks. All right. Let me see what else we got here. I'm going to drop down a little bit. What else can we find in here? I love a lot of it because they'll darken these photos up purposely so that when you look at it, you won't see the actual manipulation that's done on the side of these so-called rocks. You won't see that. So by darkening these up, so a shadow is now a really dark shadow, and you will never see the manipulation they do on the side of these. Like you can see right here. Look at just the texture of this. So if you would have darkened this photo, this would be a shadow, and you wouldn't see any of this at all. It'd be totally gone. You wouldn't see the manipulation, and that's the whole key to it. Let me back out here a little bit. Let's go over to this side. This one's interesting, and I'll tell you why. Watch this. You guys see this? I'm going to put it right in the middle of the screen. Tell me what you guys see right off the bat. Rob Ebenhard, what's going on? Happy Friday, Chris. Mars is rocking tonight. Absolutely. It is. Good to see you in there, Rob. P. Ferrero says the manipulation is so squared off, it's obvious. Oh, yeah. There's no doubt in my mind. Now, when I look at this right here, the supposed hillside, what I see is either two things. One, all of this area right here, I'm going to put it right in the middle of the screen. That's either manipulation with these squares, or there's actually what looks like part of a wall type thing right here. Now, that's one of the two. Either way, it's not natural. Because if it's something they're doing to the photo, then they're blocking out something that they don't want you to see. That's first and foremost. And if it is a wall, again, it doesn't belong there. It's not natural. Because look, you can see what looks like these pieces all around it. And that doesn't look natural either. Almost looks like something like an opening to it, might have been like a structure, like, in other words, you can go inside this thing. Or is it just the way the manipulation looks and it's kind of giving that illusion? Because let's suppose these are like lighter squares they want to put over this area. So it gives that illusion because you see that straight line and it just looks darker in here. Maybe that looks like an opening. Or is it? You can see this whole side has been completely obliterated. And you can see something right here. Check this out. This white rectangular piece. And of course, it's all got all of these squares all over it. But you can see whiter pieces. Look at this. Right here. I don't know if you guys can see this. Like this U-shaped piece going just like this. Doing this here. And you can see thicker. It's a thicker piece there. It's whiter. It's the whiter things you want to see behind this manipulation. That tells all. But to me, this almost looks like an opening into a structure or something. Or I'm not sure. I can't make out whether this is actual real, meaning it's in the photo, or something they put in, which they could very well have done. Divine Catalan says, structures. Hockey.net, good to see you in there. He said, is that an indentation cave in the hillside? Well, see, this is what we're trying to determine. Because, again, if this is manipulation, these white areas that they put in, then maybe that's not an opening, and it's just a blurring over which they're trying to hide here. Same thing on this end. See this right here? And, of course, I believe this is I'm trying to think, this looks like a stitch line here. So I don't know if that's, or if it's something they're doing the manipulation, because I don't see it going all the way down. So that may not be a stitch line. So I don't know what that is. It doesn't look natural, though. If that's an opening, well, there's proof right there. You can see something right here at the edge. Looks like white frame or something. Looks like it's kind of going down. Comes down like this here. See that? Look at that. You can see the black triangle between this little frame thing, but then all of a sudden, completely gone. All this information redacted. Gone. Now you can see a stitch line right here running down the length of this photo. Or not the length, but the actual height of it. Vertically, and then we got another one right here going across. There's another stitch line right there, and we got one going vertical. So you got to be careful of those too, because you don't want to think, oh, and this is the reason why I was questioning this area, because I didn't want that to be a stitch line, and it doesn't look like it is one. So again, pretty interesting. Look at this thing's right here. Looks like some kind of mechanical piece is sticking directly out of the side of this. Is it? I don't know. That's what it looks. Just some, look, that's a rock right here. Look at this thing in the middle, right there. That's pretty interesting for a rock, I'll tell you that. Right in here, right around this piece right in the center. What is that? It looks like mechanical pieces hanging off of each other, just kind of like, look at Look at the lines to this rock, right? Right there. You've got this piece right here. Looks like it's round, got a hole in it. You've got this piece of it. Looks like a pipe or some kind of weird thing hanging off this side. What is that? Jerry McDonald, what's going on? Hey, Chris. Hey, community. How is everyone doing? I'm doing good, Jerry. Good to see you in there. Glad you're joining us. Just awesome stuff here we're doing. What's going on, Your Highness? Good to see you in there. Arts and Crafts is in the house. What's going on, Arts and Crafts? Charlene, the Flintstones on a bad day. Could be right. Pointy things on the ridge. Yeah, you got these up here. It's weird how you get these smooth areas. Now, don't get me wrong. You can have that on a mountain, right? You can have like kind of rigid areas and, of course, smooth areas depending on, you know, what's there and what's not. You can see these straight pieces in this so-called mountain back here. Now, is it layered rock? Looks too perfectly straight to be layered rock, but I'm not saying it can't happen, right? Look at this. You see little bits and pieces of white. Look at this right here. This little end of a square type thing. See that? Right there. And then it goes into this gray, this dark gray. But you can see the shape of this thing actually continues on. See that in the back? Or just behind this blur. Wow. The whole thing is white right there. You can see the whole thing, and then it goes into this blurry area. But look at the little spaces. Black circle, black circle, black circle. And they're spaced apart. It looks like framing, guys. It looks like it. You got to pay attention to the white parts inside this gray blurring. That's what we're looking at. And look behind and through the blur if you can. You can see the white still going behind it. That's crazy. Dale Rogers said, this is a good explosion vision. Image. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I see when I see it. It looks like something was completely obliterated, and it's what we're seeing is laying all over the ground. This right here. Got this little piece right here in the center. Got a little dark piece in the middle. We got this other piece, this whiter piece hanging off. Almost looks like a square with some kind of nodule or something like that sticking on top of that. It's got a shadow underneath it, so it is off the ground. Interesting. William John, you said levels of a building? Yeah, it seems like they've built into these things. Look at this right here. I can see a pipe sitting right here. Right there. See the opening of it? Kind of going back. Just a little piece of it sticking out. And it looks like the details on this, if you look carefully, there's squares. Little square inside that square. You got this piece right here with some kind of pot on top of it. It looks like technology, stuff that's been scattered around. Let me just back out just a hair bit. See this right here? What do you guys make of that? Dale Rogers said, lighten it up. I can't. This is not in Photoshop. This is just a photo we're actually sharing. It's online. You know, I see a lot of these things. It's just crazy what you see in here. It's just awesome. Like I said, I see a lot of rocks and boulders. I never see a rock and boulder that looks like that ever. The heck is this? Just the little details in these so-called rocks, and you know, this right here looks like it's actually going under. It's going like rounded here at the end, just very faint underneath, coming out, going straight across, and then drops down on a small angle right there. It angles up, comes straight across. Looks like it keeps going, and it kind of goes under in a round way, goes up and under that. But look at the small pieces that are on it. Josh D says, as some of you know, I have been doing photography since I was 12, a long time ago, and it was so freaking obvious to work on this piff crap work. Yeah, it's like, psst. I mean, I've had other guys tell me the same thing. They're like, listen, man, I've been in photography a long time. No way, no how should a photo look like that, ever. Now, this right here, I don't know about you guys. I was going to do a video on this particular thing. Check this out. Tell me what's the first thing that comes to your mind before I say anything. First thing that comes to your mind. Okay? This whole area, I'm going to put it right in the middle of the screen, right there. Just have a good look at that, guys. MacDuffin says, that's a building for sure. Divine Catalin says, looks like a Mars vehicle to me. What's going on there, Mr. Mike Knapp? He said, hi, Chris. Hi, everyone. Maduka says, it looks like a craft or some sort of vehicle. I'll have to go back there and check it. Photography, Light, and Magic. And you guys will get the link to this anyway. And be able to check it out. Let me see here. Let me go back a little bit. See if it jumped on me that much. Frank Miklos says, my wife says NASA is probably watching your channel and others. They are either messing with you or making their Photoshop work obvious, so they are found. My guess is it's kind of like a slow disclosure, and I've been saying this for a while. And the reason for that is kind of like, if you really scrutinize these things, you can see that this stuff's not natural. I mean, you could just see it. You know, the more they see it, and here's the thing, if they let people see it and they go, even if you said, if you could talk to somebody in Congress and said, oh, yeah, give them the money, give them the fund and the money, because I see what I see in here. They're getting the money, no matter what. So what I find, now some of you guys, I know what you're commenting on, because I'm looking at this part here, down in the lower, in the middle. I'll put it right in the middle, right there. I'm talking more at the top. Any more guesses before I go over this? Mimi says, to me it looks like an explosion. You're absolutely right about that. And you're also right about, you said in black and white, the manipulation is way more obvious. And you're right about that too. Charlene, you said the place was blown to smithereens. Again, yep. Oh, yeah. Leslie, yeah, we're definitely going to be leaving the links to every page I showed you, plus this. Really cool. So, yeah. I'm going to jump all the way down to the bottom. MacDuffin, good question. And I answer this a lot of times because a lot of people ask me this. Why even show us these obvious blurry image? Well, keep in mind, it's, people who stitch these together do a great job. But the problem is they can only put the photos together. In other words, they can't give you the quality. I mean, they could try to get rid of some of the shadowing and stuff like that, right? So, but we're not the first people to see these. It's the NASA scientist, archaeologist, or I shouldn't say archaeologist, but geologist, rather. People like that are seeing this and they're saying, wow, look at this. Wow, wow. So they're looking at this stuff themselves and they're seeing this. Before, and of course they're seeing it in pristine, censored, pure photo. I can't even imagine what these things look like. It must be insane to see this because they then get the photos and they put them through the CGI department, and of course they work their, I don't know if I want to call it magic, their garbage, if you will, and they work their garbage through this. And just by looking at just a few things you can find, this is not natural. This is not a natural landscape. Let me just go back here just for the heck of it. So whatever these things are in the background, so you can't see the rover, I was going to say, not that I can think of. So these things are pretty far back, so they might be decent size, right? Now, Doc Chuck, what's going on? Good to see you in there. He said, hi, Chris. How are you? I'm doing well. What's going on, Doc? I hope you're doing well. VP Vandenberg says, melted debris. Glenn Judd, you said, looks like a boat and cabin. Let me see. Yeah, Divine Catalan, you said, can you imagine? Chris? Yeah, just seeing the actual awesome stuff would be cool. Poisonberry Dracula, what's going on? He said, common sense says they don't blur nothing, so I wonder who built the something. Yeah, exactly. James Cragen, you said, Chris, let's not forget about the size comparison, man. Yeah, exactly. Now, you guys are right, because I'm almost positive I did this particular part of this photo at one point. Now, this actually did on the bottom look like some kind of weird framework. Almost looks like a shape of a vehicle. Now, what I want you guys to look at is right here. You can see white right here. And again, we got this blur. All of this is blurred. But then you see what looks like this weird framework right here. You can see like the top of it. It almost looks like some kind of vehicle, right? Like the top of a car. You got the front or the side, like let's call it the passenger side for argument's sake. Right here. And it looks like it's been damaged in the front or back. Somebody said it might be a boat. And it could very well be. What leaves that kind of thing there? But look, this actually goes down further. It's whiter. It's white down here. This whole thing has some kind of framework or something to it, but they blurred it completely out. Well, not completely, but left some, right? Look at that. What I'm seeing is it looks like blasted apart structures in the back. Look at the debris hanging. Circles, squares, things just laying about. Things going from one area to another. You guys see this? Look at this. This long piece going from here to here. Looks like a teardrop type item with a black center. Square. Other pieces. Nice straight edges. And it looks like, you picture any war-torn, country that's had the side of a building obliterated. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing garbage laying around like something's been obliterated. And let's say this was some kind of vehicle, which I kind of looks like it, but I don't believe that's what it is. Only because it goes down all the way down here. So whatever this thing is, it's buried in partially in the hillside. But it in fact does look like some kind of weird vehicle. To me, none of this in the middle is natural. None of that. Architect, you said a box frame rebar sticking out and a shadow underneath because it's protruding. Absolutely. But like I said, you can see where they've actually doctored this thing, right? What I don't understand, it's almost like they didn't completely even take this completely out. But they probably figured, oh, hell, they're really going to see that real bad, too, if they do that. Now, keep in mind, this was all shadowed. So all of this was completely, well, not completely, but it was in the dark, and so wasn't this. So you probably wouldn't have seen this in the real photo. Now, check this out. I don't know if you guys seen this. Look at this block here. And look at this little piece just above it. Look at that weird object right there. It's kind of like got an indentation where there's something in the center of it. Almost looks like a kind of almost like a roundish ball type thing, but this weird piece, and then we get this boomerang looking object on the bottom. Now, is that stone or is it something more? And you can see it's off the ground. It's leaving a shadow. See that? Is it part of a structure? What is that? Here as well. Look at this right here. This piece sticking right out. And you can see there's light behind it. So therefore, it looks like we're going to use the term pipe so you can visualize the round tube type thing as opposed to just normal ground, right? What do you guys suppose that is? Like I said, they can argue their point there's nothing on that planet, but I argue they're full of it. Colleen Barnes, thank you very much for your support. I do appreciate you. You said, hey, sorry, missed last Hangout, but saw the clips you did. Excellent as usual. Happy Friday, you all. Well, I appreciate that, Colleen, and thank you again for your support. That's fine. We miss different things. Sometimes I can't even do these live feeds because I got to do something. So don't be sorry. I'm glad you're here. Like I said, but I love to be able to get in there and do these things, but sometimes, you just can't do it. And this will come up because, like I said, they're kind of changing things around at our job. And who knows in the short time coming up what's going to change or what's not. Because, we're talking about, total shutdown again, talking about all this BS. So God only knows what's going to happen. Even next week's might be questionable. I don't know yet. We'll see. I hope not. Because I enjoyed ripping these things apart and getting into these. It's been a while since we actually did a Gigapan, so I wanted to get in there and really do one of these. So I'm glad we could do this. And again, thank you, Colleen, for your support. You are appreciated. And like I said, don't be sorry for not being here. If you had other obligations, you do what you got to do, right? Mimi Reaction said, Chris, look at what looks like an entrance for tiny people. Yeah, you see a lot of these. That's what's really weird. It looks like you can see like these little square openings or these little bottom openings. I'm wondering, like I said, I'm trying to get an idea because there's no scale on this, right? Let's suppose this is the rover's just beyond this black right here. It's just behind it. So even if you could walk up and over to that, it still wouldn't be super large, right? It would be actually smaller. Now look at this. This is what I find interesting too. It's almost like, look at the way this is right here. Almost like if you remember like our own pyramids here on Earth where they had a casting stone or had like a capstone on these, on the outside of the actual pyramids. And I'm wondering if this is very similar to that. See that? You can see it right here going across. There's actually something in there, though. Look at the straight edges in this. Look at this white piece right here. Now, keep in mind, this is in the shadows. See the shadows? Bright up here? This is in the shadow area. Look at the squares coming down, right? You can see a separation right between the two. I'll put it right in the middle of the screen. Right here, there's one and there's two. There's two what look like square framing or something inside the shadowing, okay? And the sun's not shining at it, yet they're white. That's cool. Now, I did this area before. I'm surprised I didn't actually see those. But again, sometimes that's what it takes. You just got to take your time, go through these, and you find some incredible things in here. John Che said, evening, Chris, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. I am doing well, John. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Thank you, Your Highness, for your support. I do appreciate you. Love the laughing pair. That's pretty cool. That is cool. Thank you for your support. I do appreciate it. Planetary Protector says, hey, everyone. Been late all day. That's not good. But you're here. That's all that matters. Well, Lone Villain, you said, how does a metal piece exposed last 500,000 years? That's what I'm saying. This is the reason why I believe again, put the pieces together. 1941 sounds about right. That's when their destructive time happened. Now, again, do the math and how many years. Think about it. We had Chernobyl. You can literally go there and walk there now. Now, would you stand there and live there? Probably not. But the radiation's died down to where there's now life growing back there again. There's animals coming back. There's all kinds of stuff. So think about it. 1941, how many years is that from now? Or back then, between? How many years is that? Okay. You could probably safely go there now. And plus, they're keeping their distance as far as the landers and rovers. Interesting. I love this how this has almost these square pieces in here. Right here. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty cool. And like I said, look at these weird things sticking out on this. This is cool. It almost looks like this, well, even this white piece right here. That's cool. There's all kinds of weird, I don't know how to explain these things, man. Just, wow. Like I said, a lot of people go, oh, I just see nothing but rocks. Well, what about these? Look at these pieces coming off these so-called rocks. Look at the, wow. You just can't explain them. You don't know what they are, but clearly it doesn't look like something you should see there. Even if these pieces coming off from one thing to another, and you can see it looks like it's coming off from this, or it's going from one piece to another, and there's another one, and it looks like a third one. Is it separate pieces, like pieces of metal, or even if it was organics, why is it still there if there hasn't been any kind of life on this planet for millions upon millions of years? Even if it was, again, if it was petrified, just being wind blown, from dirt basically being sandblasted, you wouldn't see that. Look at this. Nice angle white piece sitting right here. Look at, just look through the blur. You can see a little bit of white right there. It goes down even to this point right here. I can see just a tad of the white right there. Then it comes up. Nice 90-degree angle inside there. All of these white pieces are the actual real deal, guys. But this gray is what's blocking out the rest of it. Look at this mess in here. Looks like it has a flat piece, angled down piece, almost like an octagon. What we're seeing, a half of an octagon piece sitting right there, right in the middle of the screen. Right there, coming down. Nice flat side coming down, and then curves or angles back down to the right. See that? That white piece right in there. What do you guys think of that? Let's see what else we got here. Like I said, just some of the shapes in here. You know, you can go, okay, I can accept a lot of rocks. I'm okay with that. You know, it's going to have rocks and debris, and meaning dust and stones, and I'm okay with that. But then you see things that just, again, just stand out. And even that piece, that little white piece in right there in the center, look at the other pieces on the left-hand side of it. It looks like it's steel, shiny piece of steel. Something clearly looks like it's just about made there. You can see that. James, you said, I still think it is after getting suddenly blasted or blown up in some sort of explosion. The structures or mechanical parts look melted into the surface. And I agree with you. If this is part of another area that was struck by this, you know, explosion. Now keep in mind, when you detonate something on the ground, everything, you know, your sand will turn to glass. It'll melt the sand, and like I said, turn to glass. But if you do it in the air, how much can it, like, wipe out just a concussion or the explosion itself? Would it blow apart? Would it blow things apart much further away? We don't know. And it spreads it a lot further and kills more people, I would think, because it's already in the lower atmosphere to begin with. So big bombs or anything like that should do some major devastation. If you want to do it in a single area and pinpointed area, you'd make sure it hit the ground. What do you guys think of that theory? Do you think it was done purposely in the air, and for what reason? Maduka, you're right about that. You said the sky is so fake. Yeah. They got a lot of stuff that's actually hidden. It's just pure crap when it comes to that. William said the NASA rock texturing. Imagine all that without the rock veneer. Exactly. We're just seeing a dressed up, you know, situation, and we'll only get to see certain parts of this. I'm just happy to be able to see that, to be honest with you. Just see at least that. Because it could be a lot worse. You couldn't see anything. Oh, I gotta love this rock. Look at this. Just the texture they put over this stuff. Sometimes they put off something really big, and you can see something very small and behind it. In other words, the thing's put there, but there's something small. Like, they just make it look just like different size anything, just to make it look good. I like the shape of this brighter rock. Look at the shape of that. Pretty cool. Nice circle right there. Look at this right here. All right. Look at these. They almost look like a rectangular openings in the back. Or is it just shaded and it's just something overhanging causing that? But look at it. It looks like framework right here. We can see where it goes across. Goes up a little bit. Looks like one, maybe two pieces coming down. One piece going up. It looks more like framework to me, guys. It doesn't look like just a strictly a strict mountain. That's all. David said definitely in the air. I would think it would do more damage in the distance than, like I said, if you want to pinpoint something you're trying to destroy, you would do it, boom, right on the ground and totally annihilate and pretty much decimate an area. But if you want to do widespread explosion and spread it as far as you can, to me, in the air sounds like it makes more sense. Yeah, that's what we were looking at right here. You can see what looks like this round piece and perfectly round circle in the middle. You got these other pieces laying around. Yeah, this I see what looks like mechanical items. Look at this up here. Put that right in the middle. Check these things out. VP Vandenberg says, "Oh yeah, use shock wave, air pressure, detonate before hitting ground. Yeah, or just do it in the air and see what happens." Here's another area you can see right here. Look at the way they. Oh wow, this is cool. You can actually see this. Check this out, guys. Look at the white right behind this blur. Check this out. Literally comes down slanted, stops right here, comes down straight, goes over to here. Look at this straight white piece right behind this blur, guys. Right there. Bingo. That is neat. Put it right in the middle. And you can see some kind of weird designs in this. You can see it going up like this. Coming up around here. Coming back down. And doing that there. And another dark detail or circle. Look at the shape right here. Going across. Nice smooth corner. Going down. See this darker line. Goes up. Slants over to the left. And goes straight across on the left. But the white piece is what I'm looking at. You can see this slanting down like this. Right there. Let's say it's kind of going out a little bit and then coming straight down. White edge. And it's pretty sharp edges too. Coming down to the bottom and slants over to the left. And you can see right here underneath all this white right here, guys. This is no mountain. This is definitely no mountain. It might be parts of shield or some kind of let's call it a shingling, if you will, on the side. Your Highness says the wave does the most damage. Absolutely. Tony Gibbs, what's going on? Good to see you there, man. He said, hey, everyone. Been gone for a while. Just returned. Hope everyone is surviving. That is definitely carved. But we all know. Oh, yeah. But you can literally see behind this blur, you can see that white, looks like a panel, if you will, right there. Something sticking out right there. A lot of times they'll put all of this weird, this manipulation looks like a bunch of just lines and squirrely lines laying all over the place. And this is the reason why sometimes people will see little people, because it's all these squiggly little lines. You can find what looks like faces in there and everything else. Now, it's not your fault for seeing these. A lot of times it's because it's literally being hidden from the texture that they're using. It's just putting it looks like a bunch of spaghetti all over the ground, and it gives you these weird illusions of different things. That's all. This white piece right here. Not sure what to make of that. You see partial blur right there over it. Pretty interesting. But to me, that was it right there. There's the main giveaway right there. This whole pan right there. There it is. You can see that nice and crisp edges right there. All right, let's see. See how like this is all whitened up? Of course, he did actually bring it up a little bit to bring up the shadows, or to get rid of the shadows. So you will get that. I mean, look at the funky looking. These are funky looking rocks. Look at this. What? I see shattered, just blown apart structures. That's all I see. Now, if they did build out of these hillsides, it makes perfect sense. You'll see rocks, you'll see dirt, but you'll see framing, infrastructure. You'll see these things, and that's what makes it interesting. So I believe that, like I said, they could be high tech. They'll be high tech, yet they're living in things like that, and it makes perfect sense. I don't see why that's, that would be a problem. I think they could do that. Mimi, you're right about that. You said the rover, well, I guess you're assuming the rover, it never really gets close to the buttes. I wonder why. Yeah, well, I'm sure it can focus in on it, right? Just zoom right in, because it's pretty much got like a built-in telephoto lens, so it can pretty much get in pretty far. I like this rock right here. I just looked at this earlier, but look at this right here. It looks like it's kind of like coming out of the face of this, and you got a shadow underneath it. But look at the white pieces in here. Look at the... Seems like there's an awful lot going on in here, guys. Look at this. For something... You can see like little squares and little pieces inside here. Should we see that in a rock? Look at this. Long white pieces doing this here. Going across. That's pretty cool. I like this rock here. Look at this. Almost looks like it has designs on it, and it put it in like a dark gray texture. See that? Even this is coming out a little bit like this. That's coming right out of the face. What's going on there, Mauricio? It's hello from Brazil. A lot of intelligent made things destroyed by nature or not a long, long time ago. Doc Chalk, you said, I think all of that white material on the side that of that mountain is obfuscation. Well, I thought so too, but it's too crisp. In other words, you can see what looks like rounded pieces on it, as opposed to, you know, just... Hold on. Let me do this. No, this wasn't easy either, was it? Nope. The when you see some of these things, like you see this might be actually manipulation here. And then some of it, not so much. Because like I said, you can see the shapes in behind this right here. Yeah, you can see the whiter pieces in behind the dark gray pieces. You shouldn't see that. Here. Again, we see what looks like framework or some kind of... It looks like construction parts. That's all I can say. Don't know what it is, whether it's metal, stone, I don't know. But to me, I see white pieces of design behind this gray blurring. See that? There's something else behind that was hidden. That there is definitely something there. Something got blown apart there. Could be parts of the structure. Part of it's blown aside, blown out, the whole side blown out, and that's why you see the interior of it. Oh, yeah. And like I said, this is too crisp for me. Because like I said, it's going down slanted, coming down. You can see the edge of it right there, nice and clean. Right there. And you can still see the line of it going behind this gray blur right there. The blur over it is the actual manipulation. So, I don't know. James, he said, I could clearly see walls and carved out sections at the top of the area, Chris. That's what it looks like to me, too. What's going on there, CCM? My Harley D. Good to see you in there. Nicholas Snyder. Listen, everybody, there's nothing, put it in quotation mark. Listen, everybody, there's nothing but rocks here, but let's spend billions of dollars to send a roving laboratory to make sure it's just rocks. Then we'll build a better roving lab in every few years after that. Well, it's kind of like going to the moon. Okay, we're just going to look at the soil and some sand and some rock, and that's it. We're just going to take some core samples, and we're going to head back to Earth. Okay. 6, 7 times? I mean, how many times you got to do it? Now, I understand they can do it in certain areas. Maybe this they're thinking that, you know, different parts of the moon will yield different other materials. And I get that. But some things, you just got to say, oh, come on. You know, and based on what we've seen in these moon photos as well as these Mars, absolutely is stuff in there. They're not there for that. And they're not just here just to look at these silly little, you know, hills and rocks and stuff like that. Look at this crap here. Look at this obfuscation. So obvious, and they went right around this so-called rock. Look at it. Around these rocks, yet you can still see through it. This manipulation a little bit. Look at this thing, the way that's designed. It looks like it has like ribs to it. See that? Look at the design of that thing. But yet, look at right up against it, manipulation. Again, what would be the reason to manipulate any photo? Again, if you were like, I've seen this happen, you guys have seen it. If you ever look for a car like on Craigslist or whatever, people will put their finger over their license plate, they'll blur it out, paint it out, do whatever. There's a reason why you're doing that, because you're trying to hide something. You don't want people to see your license plate number. Makes perfect sense. Why would you hide anything on a planet that has nothing there to show? It's strictly rock, and it's basically a dead planet. Why the obfuscation? Why I should say rock mimicking software? Why all that? Why would you need to do that? There's no reason for it. Unless there's a motive. You're trying to hide something on there. There you go. Yeah, James. Yeah, because like I said, I've done parts of this before, and you said, James, we checked out this one when you showed us a while ago rather, and with a magnifier, it's just frightening, man. Yeah, when you see some of the crazy things that are in here, you just can't, you know, first of all, you want to say, I would love to see the actual photos. That would be awesome. Now, if you've seen it unedited, uncensored, that would be like, wow. But to see some of these things, first of all, you say, okay, it's been completely put into ruins. That's scary in itself. Because either these people killed themselves off or something else killed them off. But just a civilization that lives somewhere else other than you, that could be kind of scary in some aspects. But in some aspects, not at all. It's exciting. But devastation, it's never exciting. Leslie Warren, you said, look at the strange thing in the background on top. No way it's rocks. I'm an ex-archaeologist, and I've seen sites before excavated. No way are they rocks. No. And I totally agree with you. Like I said, you've seen enough of these photos. I mean, your profession helps you. But even to the untrained eye, after you see the manipulation, obfuscation, wow. You just don't look at these photos normal anymore. You just look at them and go, okay, what are they hiding today? You don't even bother going, look at the pretty rocks. You just go there and say, okay, let's see what else we can find hidden in here. Because you know that there are. Yes, the rock, the hill. And guys, this looks, like I said, this looks like some kind of weird shielding on the side of this mountain. And, you know, whether this is manipulation, because you can see a line going up right here. See that? Pretty cool. Makes you wonder, is that all completely faked, or is that something else to it? Like I said, I see blown apart buildings. I see structures. What's funny about it is this section right here, right? You look down, you see a lot of pieces. It looks like it got blasted out of that area. Now, don't get me wrong, there's debris all along this, right? But over here, it looks like it's a little slightly more dense, right? See it? Now, if this was a doorway or some kind of, maybe it's hollow inside and this is just a wall, that would explain a little bit more denser debris laying on the ground, right? And again, like I said, when you look at over here, look at this. This is crazy. That alone, just all the white in between or behind this gray blurring. Anytime you see blur, guys, try to look beyond the blur. I know it's tough to do because it's been put there to stop you from seeing through it. But try to look beyond it. Again, I can see this white right here perfectly. And then I can see the going still in the back right here. And you still another tip of white. And then all of the bottom here. In behind is gray. No. Exactly, Mauricio. You said manipulation is the proof these things are not natural. Yeah, because there's no reason to hide anything. CCM by Harley says, I believe we have Space Command on Mars and scientists just as the moon. And I think you may actually be spot on. Like I said, once you've gone to the moon, you know you're going to try to go somewhere else. So Mars it is. You know, they went back, what was it, between the late 60s, early 70s, went to the moon. They could do it. I don't believe they stopped going there because you're going to want to build an outpost to continue to look at whatever's there. So if you're in a densely populated area, when I say densely populated, I don't mean literally people, but I mean structures, you're going to want to build an outpost there to keep continually going out and studying these structures and pulling apart maybe some, you know, technology or whatever it is, and you bring it back to your base and you look these things over, right? It makes perfect sense. You wouldn't stop going. There's no way, especially when there's something there to see. And this is the reason why all these countries are now going to Mars, because it's not just a barren planet like they claim it is. Look at this piece right here. Now we're going to jump off of this. It is 8:17, so we're going to jump off. Get me something to eat so I don't fall down. Oh, I mean, now you get really hungry and you just go, man, I got to eat something. But yeah. Martin Penwright, you said you'd have to be dumb if you can't see it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's right there in front of our faces, right? You can see this. And the weird thing about this piece here, look at it. It's kind of like going up in there and all of a sudden... So is that buried by sand or is that by manipulation? But look at this. It has like that kind of shark tooth kind of look to it right there. And you can see the way these pieces, straight on the top, curves around all the way to the end to the right, and comes back down. Is that natural? I don't think so. Look at this rock too. You can see this white rectangular piece right there. Inside it. Again, that's how you know that these things are not natural. This doesn't look like some natural rock either. Look at it. Looks like it has a cutout of something, and then something, it looks like 1, 2, 3 pieces inside this so-called rock. What are these? Cattle, and you said, that's me, Chris. I eat food when I am famished. Yeah, you've got to. But we are going to jump off this, guys. Again, thanks for everybody being here, and most of all, thanks for everybody for their support. There's many ways to support, and you guys are awesome. Just being here is support enough. I think you guys are great. It's just cool to see this stuff. And I wanted to start doing these, get back into these Gigapans, unless, of course, there's a lot of science topics to talk about. We can do that. And I know a lot of you guys want to get into these Gigapans because it gets us away from the garbage, right? That's going on in the world. And it's good to be able to just get out, well, so to speak, hop out of that mess and what's going on and just jump into this here and see what's really going on. And to me, that's just awesome. And spending time with you guys. Like I said, I look forward to it because there's just so much to see in a lot of these. Sometimes not so much. I mean, you guys have seen where you go, kind of little tidbits here and there, nothing really major, nothing too exciting. And then you get things that you just go, okay, wait a minute. That stuff's not real. You know, it's just not fake, or I should say, it's not real Martian, landscape. When you just look at the details in these so-called rocks and you go, okay, wait a minute. That clearly doesn't look natural at all. So, yeah. So, like you guys are saying, goodbye and all that stuff. Much love to everybody on here. Blue Sunset, good to see you in there, as always. You guys are awesome. Like I said, it's good to spend time with you guys. Your support is overwhelming. It's just great to have great people like yourselves. Nothing but love for you guys. I just can't say it enough because it's like, it's just great to have this kind of support and the subs that I have. It's unmatched by any other channel. There's no way. I get the best subs as far as I'm concerned. Let me go back to small on this thing. Wait a minute. There we go. You guys will get the link. You can see this right here. Somebody asked. It's MSL 1432. So if you want to Google that, and you will get the link anyway, MSL 1432 M34. And as soon as you put that in there, you'll see it on there. You can put in Google. But again, you guys will get the links to all of these pages, including this pan. You guys can check it out. James, thank you again for your support. Again, you guys are awesome. Like I said, I love you guys. You're just great people there. Let me go. What did I do here? Let me jump back in there. You can see why I wear a hat. Look, I got hair because this light is so bright, it actually just kind of mess. But this is the reason why I put the hat on, because it's just so bright. So I toned it down a bit. But anyway, I actually cut my hair pretty darn short. I like it like that. People go, man, he's bald. No, I'm not. Trust me, I got a lot of hair. My dad still has a full head of hair, and so does my mom. And they're in their 70s. So, but, yeah, I mean, mad love for you guys. Again, man. Again, I've said this before. This is what makes this channel awesome, because it's just a great bunch of people. Great subs. I got people that are jumping on board. If you can, tell other folks that are like-minded people like yourselves from other channels or whatever. Say, man, jump on board. Check them out, man. Mars Anomalies at, Mars Anomalies and Beyond. And, of course, Lunar Anomalies and Beyond. Got 2 channels. One strictly the moon. The other one, we can do moon and Mars on this one because it is beyond. So we pretty much, that's why we named it like that, so we can pretty much put anything on the channel. And if I believe it's something super interesting, like, wow, everybody's got to see this, then, I'll put it on this channel on Mars because it gets a lot more views. And I think people need to see that, right? Cloakstorm, thank you very much for your support. It is appreciated. You said, I heard the former defense secretary recently said that there are 12 Americans on another planet right now. What do you think? Now, I've heard this many a times. I've heard many more people than that. I've heard, just bases on Mars. We've heard on the moon. I'm hearing all kinds of stuff like that. I mean, how true it is, I can't vet that, so I don't know. But it is interesting to me. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities. Again, once you've discovered how to space travel, meaning simply going to our orbiting satellite, which is our moon, if you can go there, you can retrofit another craft for fuel. If you have like a bigger payload area, you got food, you can exercise, you can do many more things. Why would you stop? Why would you stop going to the moon or Mars? Right? So it would not surprise me to see like groups of people already on Mars as well as the moon. Moon, of course, first, and then Mars. It would not surprise me. The funny thing about it, just put on there, what was the term I used last time? Because it brought up real quick. Just simple things like how many missions went to Mars. And you'll see a list of things that were failed by the Soviet Union. We failed. We finally got there at a certain time. You would be surprised. You'd be blown away how many missions have been trying to either A, go in there, or B, have. Now, as far as space travel itself to send landers, this has been going on since the 40s and 50s. Okay, so if you can send a craft to Mercury, Venus, Mars, okay, so you got the trajectory right, so you can do that. Okay, with that being said, all we need to do is have an area set up so astronauts can be there in the craft this time and just simply go. And many of these people will actually die for their own country to go there, because the moon was this first step for man. Well, what about going to the moon? Isn't that equally, if not more exciting, because you're going much further out? People would die to go there. So that tells me that there's no way that we haven't already been there, and we've been there for years. That's just my opinion. You guys can always, weigh in on that, of course. But thank you again, Cloakstorm. Appreciate your support. You guys are awesome. But I am going to jump off this thing. Like I said, I'm hungry. I don't want to eat my own arm. This would not be good. That would look bad on camera. So I'm going to jump off this thing. Again, much love for you guys. Can't say it enough. You guys are great. And there you go. I'm going to jump on off. And we're going to try to do this. Like I said, we'll start bringing up the Gigapans again so that we can scout through them again. Unless, of course, we get a lot more space news to talk about, because sometimes we have topics and we don't ever even get to the Gigapans, right? So that's just awesome. And I like doing either one. It doesn't matter to me, right? Either whatever it may be, either just space news, we start talking about a whole bunch of things, and next thing you know, we don't even end up doing the actual Gigapan. So I don't care either way. It's still good talk with good people, and that's what's awesome. Yeah, much love to you as well, Charlene. Good to see you in there. Yeah, Maduka, I'm definitely going to do that. Even if I have something to snack on, it'll be good. Tony Gibbs, you said good night, Chris. Good night to everyone here. You guys are awesome. Thanks for being here. And we'll see you guys during the videos. Again, if you haven't seen the newest one I've got on the moon, check it out, the Lunar Anomalies and Beyond. Like I said, I know some of you guys are newcomers. If you haven't subscribed, rather, and, just go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell and, get more people on the channel. We're being shadow banned here, guys, in a big way. Before I was getting like anywhere between 60, 70, 80, new subscribers. Look where the subscribers are. They've been stagnant. Has not moved. And you know darn well what's going on there, right? But we're going to think of different avenues to get this stuff out. That's all. How to think of that? No, I'm kidding. So, yeah. That's why I depend on you guys to get the word out, share the videos wherever you can, because we're being shadow banned in a big way, and it sucks. But it is what it is. You got to deal with that, right? So hopefully we can get more people on board, and there you go. But anyway, guys, with that, I'm going to let everybody go. Have yourselves a great weekend. Be safe. And like I said, just worry about between the 16th and the 20th. Get whatever you need, and then stay in the house, because all the craziness will come out. And I don't want to see anybody get hurt or anything like that. I don't think it's going to be like, oh, doom to the planet. But you know how that's going to be. It's been all over the news and stuff like that. And every capital here and any state in the United States is all being guarded by National Guard and everything else. There's a reason for it. So just be safe. Do what you got to do. And try to be off the streets during them times. Just be safe with your families. It's better to chill and be safe than not, right? And if nothing happens, awesome. If something does, at least you're ahead of the game. Anyway, guys, with that, I'm going to let you all go. Have yourselves a great night. Talk to you soon. I'll leave this up for a little bit longer so you guys can chat. And I'm out. Peace, guys.